Your deadline day activity, you've got Aaron Ramsdale's a big personality, Ryan Fraser the same, and obviously has got Premier
another game in a week's time, but it is what it is, and we'll utilise it to the best way we possibly can. And I feel way more positive today than I did after Nottingham Forest, weirdly. So.
Keep you updated with an England special Wednesday night from 7 with me and the former England captain Stuart Pearce on TalkSport, and of course the England internationals coming up live on TalkSport. Next it's Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy with the game day phone in on TalkSport 03717 2233.
Betfair. Play different.
Antonio, edge of the penalty area, tries a 6-yard box, tries to get a shot on target, but he's just squeezed out of it. Guardiola and Ruben Diaz back there, able to ensure that Edison doesn't have to make a save. Then it's won back again, this time by Guido Rodriguez. It's been a really good start this for West Ham, Stephen Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. The ball in from Kudos there takes a wicked deflection, and to be honest, I don't know how they keep it out. Diaz just gets his body in the way of Antonio, screaming in behind him, just ricochets around the box, and City are able to clear the lines, but West Ham have started off electric.
Wan-Bissaka in for Vladimir Sofal and Edson Alvarez in for Thomas Souček, who rarely misses a game and who scored at Selhurst Park last weekend. But we've only played 2 minutes, but it's been all in the Manchester City half so far. Mind you, West Ham don't want to score too early. We all saw what happened to Ipswich last weekend.
No, you don't want to poke the bear either. But it's interesting because I was wondering what's going to happen with Kudos. I know Rico Lewis is going to drop back into that right back position, but he's a winger. He's so good. He's so good in the ball. He's so quick. He wants to take his player on. Will City have to be forced into a 4 regularly with Kudos occupying that wide space on the right hand side and Bowen out on the right hand side as well? So it's going to be a difficult afternoon for those fullbacks for City with those 2 players.
Edson Alvarez, who's making his first start in the Premier League this season. He's alongside Guido Rodriguez and Lucas Paqueta. It's a strong-looking central area of the field for the home team. Grealish back helping out his defence on the edge of the D, but he can't hold on to it, and he's given the ball away to Wan-Bissaka, and then Bowen cracks in a shot, left-footed, pushed away by the goalkeeper Edison. Shot on target from West Ham, who continue to apply the early pressure here.
Yeah, they've been physical, they've been aggressive. Bowen and Kudos on the wings have started off so brightly. Bowen cut inside here on his stronger left foot and absolutely whips one towards goal. Doesn't get high enough into the corner to really test Edison, but 2 hands behind and he palms it away.
Well, they've not scored, but the mood, the atmosphere inside this stadium, which sometimes can take a while to warm up. It has instantly engaged the West Ham fans in the game.
Yeah, they've just started off. They've been so aggressive on the press, not allowing City to dictate the tempo. Even early on, Kovacic got pressed on the edge of his box, and there was a moment where you felt he was just going to lose it, but then they won it back a few minutes later. So West Ham have started so brightly.
Emerson with the header of the back for West Ham. Mikel Antonio on the halfway line tries to flick it on, but Rico Lewis gets a touch for Manchester City, and then Maximilian Kilman, who's been a very useful signing for West Ham from Wolverhampton Wanderers in the summer, with a powerful header, and he clears it away. I think that could prove to be very good business. Kilman, who was always very reliable for Wolves, and he gives West Ham something that they haven't had in recent seasons, a sort of a ball-playing centre-half who's very comfortable bringing it out from the centre of the defence.
Yeah, we discussed it earlier on today about what teams have done well in the transfer window, and you have to look at West Ham and think, you know what, they've strengthened in their positions. Wan-Bissaka coming in right back for Soufal. Soufal's been a stalwart for him, but you'd say Wan-Bissaka's a bit of an upgrade in him. Kilman coming in centre back, he's an upgrade in that position. They've got players that are just making them slightly better than what they were, and adding to those players that they currently have, like the likes of Kudus and Bowen, who were electric last season.
Here comes City venturing forward for the first time really in the game. It's Jeremy Doku who's got out to the right wing, Grealish on the left, but he can't get past Emerson with his first attempt of a dribble, and the West Ham fans applaud as the ball goes out of play for a City throw on the far side. We do have the two king dribblers of the Premier League here. We have got Mohamed Kudus and we've got Jeremy Doku, and those two have completed the most dribbles in this early stage of the campaign so far. Interesting to see who'll be most successful today as Grealish gets it on the left-hand side of the City attack, pushes the ball in front of Kevin De Bruyne. He drags back a ball from the byline into the penalty area, but well positioned. Kilman's able to clear it away. 0-0 on 5 Live.
Yeah, it's that play that you used to see in Grealish. He just draws the full-back towards him. De Bruyne makes a run in behind. It's a slip pass in behind. De Bruyne cross left foot, and to be honest, I was disappointed with Haaland. He didn't try and get across that man and make that cross because it was into a dangerous area.
Kevin De Bruyne gives it to Guardiola. Manchester City midway inside their opponents after De Bruyne with a nutmeg, picking out Grealish inside the penalty area. Bernardo Silva on the overlap, pulls it back. Haaland heads up and over the top. Should have been 1-0. Erling Haaland, who normally with his eyes closed would put that one away, has a smile on his face. It sailed over the top. Yeah,
so that was a bad position from Haaland from that cross, but they worked it really well down the left-hand side. Grealish, De Bruyne, then Bernardo Silva makes the late run into the box, just stands it up over the goalkeeper. And to be honest, Haaland has to hit the target. The fact he doesn't even put this on make the goalkeeper make a save, it's really poor from his standards. It's a free header and he just gets it all wrong, puts it wide over the bar.
Erling Haaland, who very much has enjoyed playing against Julen Lopetegui teams in the past. Between his time at Dortmund and Manchester City, he's got 9 goals in 4 appearances against Julen Lopetegui. Those 4 games, he's always scored more than 1 goal every single time. And he should have put Manchester City in front with their first attempt of the game. But 6.5 minutes in, West Ham 0, Manchester City 0. Earlier on today, some crazy events in the Premier League. There really were. Arsenal held 1-1 at home by Brighton, and I'm sure you'll all have heard about the Declan Rice red card. For you, Stephen, fair, unfair, biggest scandal ever, totally justified? What side of the fence are you coming down? Because I've heard all opinions today.
So, right, I can understand why he's been given a second-year card because it's an offence, he's kicked the ball away, but I think it's absolutely disgraceful that he's been sent off for that. I really do. If I was a player and I was sent off for that, it's so innocuous. And then Veltman comes in and smashes him from behind, so there's no intention to try and play the ball there. He's kicking the player on purpose. I think it's really harsh, but there's always a shining light, and it means he misses the North London derby. So, Conor, for my Tottenham hat on, sometimes you got to look at it that way.
That is our Tottenham correspondent Stephen Kelly watching this game with us here on 5 Live. Manchester City come on the attack down the left-hand side with Jack Grealish, gets to the edge of the penalty area, pulls it back for Kevin De Bruyne, makes a bit of space for himself, tries to hang in across, too high for Haaland, not close enough to Doku, and then Kudus does some good work to keep it away from the Belgian, but then Rico Lewis nips in and wins it back for Manchester City, who still have possession on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. West Ham 0, Manchester City 0. Match of the day tonight tonight on BBC One at 10:20. Worth tuning in for, frankly, just to see the expression on Declan Rice's face when he sees the red card shown to him today. Grealish into the penalty area, back to De Bruyne again, right foot shot was on target, but a defender in the way made the block. Mavropanos on the edge of the 6-yard blocks. It's been a lively start to this game so far, 0-0.
Yeah, that's straight from the City playbook. Grealish going down the outside, cuts it back. De Bruyne pulls out, great position, edge of the box, is feed it to him. First touch, shot is on target, but it's blocked by the West Ham defender. Good defending. Akanji midway inside the West Ham half. City playing from right to left as we look down. They're wearing their new change kit, which is the Paul Dickoff kit. It's a replica of the year when Dickoff scored that famous goal to get City promoted up out of the third tier. Yellow and navy. Grealish on the edge of the penalty area, gives it to Kevin De Bruyne on the left-hand side. Low ball intended for Grealish again, was cut out by Guido Rodriguez. West Ham tried to break away, but Antonio won't get very far, and City are so good at doing that, shutting down the attempts of the opposition to play a counter-attack. Bernardo Silva into the penalty area, tries to cut it back. Mavropanos puts it out for a corner. Yeah, this is a tough one for Wan-Bissaka on his start for West Ham. This left-hand side, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne, Grealish are all just picking those passes in behind the fullback. He's staying really narrow, which is making it hard then to get out to the cross or get out to the man in the ball, but they're just trying to find those balls in behind, and they're getting quite a lot of joy with it, City, early on. More on Aaron Wan-Bissaka in just a moment, but Kevin De Bruyne is going to take the corner. Looks like it's outside the quadrant, but only by millimetres if it is. Sends it in towards the back post, and Emerson was there guarding Guardiola. That will be a goal kick to West Ham. So I wonder, and I know there'll be different factors at play, but Doku, who started the season on the left wing, plays on the right today. I wonder if any part of Pep Guardiola's calculations was that Wan-Bissaka is the right back, because do you remember the FA Cup final? Yes. Very seldom have I seen a fullback deal with Jeremy Doku the way Aaron Wan-Bissaka did. See, Wan-Bissaka and Grealish are very different. Hang on, here's Erling Haaland into the penalty area, 1-0. He simply loves scoring against West Ham, and exactly 10 minutes into the game, Erling Haaland makes it 5 goals in 5 games against the Hammers. It's already his 5th Premier League goal of the season, hunting a 3rd successive Golden Boot in this sort of form. Can anyone stop him? There was a warning with the header that goes over the top, but this was one where West Ham weren't able to break out of their own half, and once it's played in low to Haaland, it felt inevitable he was going to give the champions the lead. Yeah, it's really poor. West Ham get caught in possession, and there's not even that much pressure on it. Bernardo Silva picks up from Paqueta, and he just feeds a lovely pass into Haaland's feet. One touch, opened his body out, and he just slots into the far left-hand corner. It's a great finish, great run, but West Ham be kicking themselves because they give the ball away in such a dangerous area to a team like City that can just punish you in 1 or 2 passes like they just did there. They'd be so disappointed with that. One of his goals against Ipswich last weekend, Erling Haaland, came from outside the penalty area, which is a rarity for him. He's an in-the-box striker, and that was your trademark finish, where he sort of opens his body and slots it low with the left foot into the bottom left-hand corner, and Alphonse Areola didn't know whether to stick or to twist. So West Ham 0, Manchester City 1. West Ham had a great first 2 minutes, but they have been under the cosh ever since. We joke, don't poke the bear. They didn't get a chance to poke them with a goal. They just woke them up, and now City are dominating. Like I said, they move the ball so well. They get into the wide areas. They're drawing the fullbacks in, and then West Ham they're killing themselves because they're losing the ball in the central areas to Kovacic, to De Bruyne, to Bernardo Silva, who then get their heads up on one pass. They're cutting between the lines. They're going to make it a long afternoon for themselves, so they're going to keep losing the ball like that. Erling Haaland's goal separating the teams. The feature of his time since coming to England is he's hit the ground running so early each season. That's now 17 goals in the month of August across his 3 seasons that he's been a Manchester City player. And you know, a long time ago we've run out of superlatives for his goal scoring rate, but I'm sure many people will have seen some of the stats this week as Haaland wins the ball here to provide a chance for Kevin De Bruyne, bearing down on the penalty area. Grealish in the box, right-footed shot goes deflected out for a corner. Haaland nearly turned provider there. It is, but it's West Ham getting caught in position in their own half. Madness, losing the ball here. De Bruyne breaks this time. Grealish is streaming forward on the left-hand side. It's a difficult one because the ball is slightly behind him, which is unlike De Bruyne, but he has to pull it back and get the shot away. West Ham do fortunate enough to get back and get a block in, but they could be 3 or 4-0 down here from giving the ball away in central areas and just getting counter-attacked.
West Ham trying to catch their breath. We haven't played 13 minutes yet. De Bruyne takes the corner quick, gets it back from Grealish, shoots from a tight angle, and that's an excellent save, Areola. The goalkeeper who'd come off his line anticipating a cross there had to scramble back to his right-hand side. Brilliant shot from De Bruyne. He's outside the penalty area, wide on the left, but that was going in until Areola stretched across to palm it away, to claw it away.
This is Kevin De Bruyne at his intellectual football brain best. It's unbelievable that he spots him just stepping out and he just fires into that near post. Areola does so well to react and get it back.
City looks so fresh. They look like they're up on their toes and sparkling. Grealish crosses from the left-hand side, and it's a header away by Mavropanos. West Ham clear it to the halfway line. Rico Lewis will play it all the way back to Edison, who's wearing bright orange away to our right-hand side. West Ham 0, Manchester City 1. The goal on 10 minutes from Erling Haaland. I was mentioning, the crazy stats. We've all heard so many stats about Erling Haaland, but so this is game number 317 of his career, club and country. The same number of appearances, same number of games played. Messi had 191 goals. Ronaldo at 112 goals. So, that's phenomenal goal-scoring rate. He's now got 261.
The guy is off the scale ridiculous for what he does, and now he's in a team that play the type of football that will constantly create chances for him. So he couldn't be in a better team to give him those stats and allow him to progress to the level he's at. But it's phenomenal. If you think as well, the amount of opportunities he misses as well, because he's always in the right area, so you can't question him on those misses because he's putting himself in those positions, which means they always fall in the goal. But back to that De Bruyne chance, you look at players that think, right, that would spot that, but then De Bruyne is one of those players that can spot it and then execute at the same time, and that's what sets him apart.
Yeah, the quick thinking from the Belgian there, very nearly doubling Manchester City's lead inside quarter of an hour. West Ham's early enthusiasm has been dampened by that goal, but there's a long way to go. This is Kovacic in the midfield for Manchester City, giving it to Doku in the centre circle. Rico Lewis, still a teenager, on the right-hand side. Kyle Walker back on the bench for Manchester City, but Lewis keeps his place in the team, which I think is deserved given how well he's played over the first 2 Premier League games of this season.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, he really has, and he adapts to that midfield role so well, so comfortable in this areas where he's trying to drift in, put balls around the corner and spins.
Guardiola, midway inside West Ham territory, left of centre, gives it to Grealish on the left-hand side, coming in off the sideline, back into Guardiola again, just outside the box, great accurate ball to the feet of Rico Lewis, first touch back to Mateo Kovacic, who was an injury doubt for this game today, but starts. Rodri back on the bench is a big boost for City. Doku, low to the feet of Bernardo Silva, who's offside. West Ham's defenders stood up well together as one there, catching the Portuguese international in an offside position. West Ham 0, Manchester City 1.
Yeah, if you're a West Ham defender, you'd be shell-shocked. It's just the movement, the constant movement off the shoulder, interchanging the positions. Grealish, he hugs the line, he comes inside, Bernardo Silva goes outside. They move around so quickly in front of you that's so hard to then pick them up, and then when they get on the ball they have the accuracy to find those passes in behind the lines. It's so difficult for West Ham to get out.
Yeah, Kilman tries to clear here and he is charged down by Bernardo Silva. We just saw a close-up on our monitor of Noel Gallagher, who is here. Were you one of those people on a website this morning trying to get tickets, Stephen?
I was, and unfortunately I didn't get one.
You didn't?
I didn't get one, so I'm a massive Oasis fan. Luckily I've seen them in the past at Wembley, so I'll take that. Yeah,
I think a lot of people were left disappointed. You and I were going to queue forever on those websites trying to get the tickets. But Noel Gallagher is here. We'll see if we can have a word to him later on.
Try and get him in,
he might have 1 or 2 in the back pocket. Well, he'll be in good form so far. His team have begun really well here. Manchester City looking like champions on a day that Arsenal have already dropped points.
It's scary, isn't it, that we're talking about 3 games in, Arsenal dropped points, and thinking that could actually be the difference.
Last season, the title was not decided until the last day. Every single result counted.
It really does, and because the City set the bar so high that no matter when you drop points, if it's against a team where you should be getting them, it can be costly.
Other results today: Aston Villa winning against Leicester. There was wins for Brentford, for Bournemouth. Ipswich got their first Premier League points, 1-1 against Fulham. It was also a draw, Forest against Wolves. Bournemouth, who were 2-0 down in the 87th minute at Everton, and then they came back to score 3 goals in 9 minutes and win 3-2. It is the latest a Premier League team have ever led by 2 and come back to win. Grealish shoots, but too high from the edge of the penalty area. Got a bit of bend in it. No dip, though. Sailed over the top. And it is still Manchester City creating the chances here at London Stadium.
Again, Doku down the right hand side, pulls it back. De Bruyne hits this first time, comes off the upright, back out to Grealish, and he just can't bend it back in. But they look so dangerous. It's so City down the outside to the byline, cut it back. De Bruyne working his way in, Grealish working his way in. He hits this so well. De Bruyne just comes back off the post.
West Ham 0, Manchester City 1. It remains, but City can't get much closer than that. Here is Kovacic bang on the halfway line, gives it low to the feet of Bernardo Silva, ahead of Haaland, but a good alert goalkeeping by Areola, who was right out on the edge of his penalty area. Had he been any deeper there, Haaland may well have got onto that. Mavropanos gives it to Wan-Bissaka.
Was it again? Bernardo Silva turn, see the pass.
Here is Lucas Paqueta, who this time last year had been linked with a move to Manchester City. He feeds it to Bowen. Bowen into the penalty area, right hand side. Oh, it's taken the deflection off Diaz. It's an own goal. West Ham are back in it. 1-1. It'll be claimed by Jared Bowen, but it's an own goal by Ruben Diaz. And just like that, against the run of play, London Stadium is joyful again. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1.
Jared Bowen hasn't seen the ball for the last 10 minutes. First time he gets out to his feet. And him and Kudos did start the game actually very well. You knew they were a threat on the wings. He goes past his man, puts in a lovely delivery. It's that corridor of uncertainty between the goalkeeper and defender, and Diaz feels like he has to go for it. There's actually no one in the box really going to get on the end of it, but he puts it into the back of his own net. And West Ham are back in this game without actually even seeing the ball.
3 goals this season already for Jared Bowen, the new club captain, leading by example. I say 3 goals for him, it's going to go down as the own goal, isn't it, for Diaz? But Bowen, who scored against Palace last weekend, scored twice against City in this game 3 seasons ago. That was a 2-2 draw. And his low delivery, stretching for it, was Diaz, and all he could do was divert it into the back of his net. Ooh, we've got a bit of an atmosphere, we've got a bit of a game on our hands.
We do. It is so unbelievable how football just changes in an instant. Like West Ham hadn't touched the ball, City dominating possession, dominating chances, just hit the post, and then West Ham get to those players who are going to be influential, Kudos and Bowen, and he puts in a great ball, ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah, I know this is a thing that bugs Pep Guardiola, where people start saying, oh yeah, look, City champions, just give Haaland the golden boot. It's never that easy. You've still got to go out and do it, and for all their impressive play, Manchester City are back level with West Ham here. This is 5 Live for the BBC, the 5:30 kickoff. Guardiola in a very tight position, and the ball goes out of play off Jared Bowen and out for a Manchester City throw, attacking down the left-hand side. 20 minutes on the clock, 1-1.
Yeah, and it is, you can't, because West Ham have some extremely talented players. Bowen, Kudos, Paqueta in the middle of the park. Antonio's going to work his socks off up front. Here we go, Haaland in the box again.
Haaland by the byline. Left-hand side of City come forward, good strength to hold off opponents. Guardiola will give it back to Ruben Diaz. Cross to his right-hand side to Manuel Akanji, who's making his 100th appearance for City. Guardiola back to Grealish on the left-hand side. City increasing the pace and tempo of the passes. De Bruyne tries another shot, but this had no power on it. And from the edge of the area, just bobbled through to the keeper, Areola.
Yeah, good play. And City, this left-hand side, first time pass inside from Grealish to Bernardo Silva, who looks like he's taken out the edge of the box, but it drops, fortunately, to De Bruyne, who just can't get the pace on it with a shot.
So we've had a Haaland goal, we've had De Bruyne hit the woodwork, we've had a Diaz own goal. So all happening at London Stadium. Wan-Bissaka to Bowen, good ball into Antonio. Excellent alert play though by Doku to nip in, but he can't keep it. Stolen back away from him by Paqueta. Plays a good pass in front of Antonio, and good stretching by Ruben Diaz there. He may have stretched to put it into his own net a moment ago, but that was almost perfect defending to stop Antonio. But Lewis's clearance is weak. Great 1-2. Emerson getting it back from Antonio, but then he couldn't get a second touch in the penalty area. West Ham have woken from their slumber. They're beginning to ask questions again.
Yeah, a really important interception from Diaz. He's sliding in. Antonio has him for pace, and he's going to nip onto it. It's a great little touch. Then Rico Lewis scrambles away, but West Ham getting a bit of ascendancy now.
Kudos, left-hand side for West Ham. West Ham in their Clarendon blue with the white shorts and the white socks, playing from left to right as we look down. Kilman tries to play a crossfield pass. He's disgusted with himself. He bends and arches his back and he kind of screams to the sky because he knew that was not the pass he wanted to play, as Manchester City regained possession and Diaz has it midway inside his own half. I mentioned the Paul Dickoff kid, City beating Gillingham in that playoff final to go up. And I remember several years after that, I was doing a game with Tony Pulis, who would have probably been Stoke manager by that stage. And I said, you know, whether you're a City fan or not, we were talking about this game. I said, that was a brilliant game. Kovacic here plays the ball over the top. Controlled by De Bruyne wide on the left-hand side. Bowen is back to help out the defence and tries to shield it away, but well kept in play by Kevin De Bruyne. He's got Guardiola back behind him, 10 yards outside the penalty area that Manchester City attack. Kovacic again as well, and he'll give it to Doku. One touch, Diaz. Kovacic back to Guardiola, left-hand side of the pitch as Manchester City come forward. Space has been found for Kevin De Bruyne on the left-hand side. He prods it into the penalty area, but that's weak, and it should be cleared away by Guido Rodriguez. But I was saying to Tony Pulis, I said, you know, what a story that was, what a game, brilliant. Totally forgetting that Tony Pulis had been the Gillingham manager, the team that were beaten in the game. And I couldn't dig myself out of the hole, but, well, you know, you just couldn't. It was just, the look he gave me, horrendous.
Sure, listen, it's one of those things.
Exactly.
you get on with it, but I'm sure Pulis he'll be remembered for that game as well.
I know. And that's the kit the City are wearing again, trying to keep that link with the old past of the club before things went stratospheric. Here is Akanji, just outside the penalty area, the City attack. Finds Grealish, early ball out to De Bruyne on the left-hand side. It's been a daze of passes from City as they've been bamboozling the West Ham defence at times. And Kilman here, heading the ball out for a corner. There was nothing else he could do. Corner to Manchester City on the right-hand side. West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. We're midway through the first half.
Yeah, City on this left-hand side though, they just seem to find space really well. Wan-Bissaka's tucked in so tight that he's leaving Jarabone to try and get back, and it's a hard slog for him to continually get him back on De Bruyne, who's not a winger. He's just drifting from that midfield position out into this wide channel. So, corner to Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne has placed it. There are 5 City players in around the penalty spot. They'll now disperse as the delivery comes in from De Bruyne. Free header is straight at the goalkeeper from Josko Guardiola. Areola here tries to launch a counter-attack. He's gone long, looking for Jared Bowen. Kovacic tracked back well. The Croatian gets a touch. Akanji bang on the halfway line, turns and rolls it back to Ruben Diaz, and City back in a sense of control once again. Grealish on the left wing. Jack Grealish, who had so few Premier League starts in the second half of last season, really seemed to have fallen out of favour. Huge transfer fee, of course, that City paid from the Hughes wages. It was always unlikely that he'd be leaving the club in the summer, but it will be interesting to see how involved he is over the course of the campaign. All the fortunes that City have spent on players over the years, they've never spent more on any one individual than they have on Jack Grealish, who tries to run into the penalty area here. Couldn't get a shot away. Bernardo Silva tried to tink it across, and Bowen, inside his own penalty area, can only clear as far as Akanji. Akanji midway inside West Ham territory, gives it to Doku. There's been a real pace and, you know, frantic nature about City in this first half. They have. Grealish has started really well. He's occupying that left-hand side brilliantly. He's drifting inside. He's trying to play those little passes with De Bruyne and just making those little runs off the shoulder. And what he does is he slows it down when you come out to him, and then he just feeds it back to the edge of the box or plays that ball in behind you. He's just a very different threat to Doku, who's going to be one-on-one and pass around the corner like this.
Doku can't get past Emerson this time. The Italian international slides in and puts the ball out of play. Emerson Palmieri, who's never in his career been on the winning side in a game against Manchester City, not for West Ham, not for Chelsea in the past. De Bruyne, it's all one touch and move for Manchester City inside their opponent's half. For now, West Ham, who for a second home game in a row this season have conceded an early goal at home. Edson Alvarez puts it out. Another corner to Manchester City, is it? Because there was an attempt by Emerson to keep it in play, but it has gone out for a corner. Dan Cook is the assistant on the far side, and he points his flag towards the corner flag.
There's a better position from Alvarez though, because you see Doku is wanting to cut it back into that space, and he just occupies it and clears it for a corner,
which De Bruyne will take again. Ruben Diaz is forward. How he would love to make amends for his own goal. Here it comes, floated in high, no real power, just sailed in, almost drops for Bernardo Silva, but he handles it in trying to control, and referee Michael Oliver blows his whistle to give a free kick, and Bernardo Silva points to his shirt sleeve and he says, hang on, the rule is shirt sleeve, and he's quite short, isn't he, so that's good. The shirt sleeve goes long down his arm, but Michael Oliver says it's a handball.
It's a handball. It is. It's hit him really quickly. There's not much he can do about it, and it's going to be a free kick out. But again, it was a decent ball into an area, and West Ham just didn't clear their lines. They got lucky that didn't drop to Silva, because he was in a great shooting position.
It's quite a rarity for Manchester City to concede an own goal. They rarely concede own goals in the Premier League. But when they do, it tends to be Ruben Dias. 3 of the 4 own goals that City have conceded in the Premier League have been scored by the Portuguese international Ruben Dias, which is an unwanted but quite interesting statistic for him.
Ruben Dias is one of our Irish colleagues, the new Richard Dunn for City, because I think Dunny has the record for own goals.
He is a way to catch Richard Dunn, who's in double figures of own goals in the Premier League, Richard Dunn. Yeah. So here is Lucas Paqueta. Yeah, 10 Premier League own goals for Richard Dunn, who is back on the Manchester City staff, I read this week. He's been brought in as a coach for one of the youth teams, which has been a good progression for coaches in the past. Lee Carsley, for one, who was in charge in the Manchester City academy and has got on to the England job.
Yes,
which is
just a small little one he's taken on recently.
Little step up the ladder there. So this is Kovacic inside the centre circle for Manchester City, playing it out to the right-hand side to Doku. No Savinho for City today, who was great to watch in those opening 2 games.
Yeah, he was.
You wouldn't fancy marking him?
No, him or Doku, you're thinking, which is worse, the type of players. But then you look at Jack Grealish, and he just offers a very different threat. Look, the way he goes past you.
Here is Grealish, weaving his way into the penalty area. Kovacic, Lewis, helps it on to Haaland! 2-1! Well, you knew the minute it came to his boot that Erling Haaland was going to find the net there. Wonderful City move, so intricate. Grealish running into the penalty area. It came through 2 players. Rico Lewis shifting it on, and Erling Haaland, first time, bang.
It is brilliant. It's just like pinball stuff, as it in, out, into Haaland's feet. 1 touch, top corner, goal, City back on top, and normal service resumed, because they've been brilliant all game so far. I think Grealish, if you're talking about him, I think he's offered something very different for them, and he's shown why he wants to place in this team. But this first touch from Haaland, just to set up on his left foot, takes it back inside, and he fires it near post past the goalkeeper. He can't even get to it. It's a wonderful strike, roof of the net, great goal.
That is 6 Premier League goals this season for the Norwegian. And West Ham, who had done so well to come back from 1-0 down to level things up at 1-1, they trail again. Here come Manchester City, playing from right to left as we look down. 5-line for the BBC at London Stadium. This is the 5:30 kick-off of the Premier League. Doku crosses from the right-hand side, and good goalkeeping by Alphonse Areola to come off his line and gather that. The Frenchman, who wasn't able to do anything about the goals that have been struck past him so far. Here comes Antonio on the charge, down the left for West Ham. He's gone from the halfway line to the City penalty area. He sends in across, Bowen's arriving, Guardiola, cool as you like. Doesn't just clear it away, cushions a header back to the keeper.
Oh, that's sensational from defender from Guardiola. The play though from Antonio initially, wonderful turn, body strength on Akanji, who's a big, quick defender, gets away from. Then Akanji gets back on him, he has to go past him 1v1, does that, stands it up into a really good area. The problem is, he's so far advanced of the West Ham team that no one can get in it. But Guardiola, as cool as you like, just heads it back to Edison, and City start again.
There is a tea-time kick-off in the Scottish Premiership today. Ross County 0, Aberdeen 0. They are still inside the first 20 minutes there. 5:45 kick-off earlier on today. Motherwell won away at St Johnstone, and it was a 2-2 draw. Dundee against St Mirren. City on the attack again. It's relentless at the moment from Pep Guardiola's team. Doku, central location just outside the D, shifts it on to Kevin De Bruyne, back into Jeremy Doku. City holding on to possession on the left hand side as they come forward. Guardiola's up from the back, returns it to De Bruyne, 10 yards to the byline, left hand side, back to Guardiola, steps into the penalty area, pulls it back for Rico Lewis, tried a little step over the ball, and it sort of worked, but Grealish had to retreat out of the penalty area in order to hold on to possession. Good ball back in and attacking momentum. Low cross comes in from De Bruyne, looking for Haaland, and it's cut out by Mavropanos. But West Ham can't hold on to the ball at the moment. West Ham 1, Manchester City 2.
Yeah, I can see a bit of frustration creeping in for the West Ham fans, but it's so hard because they're just being swamped by this City team. Every time a cross comes in, they try and clear the lines, they're under pressure, and then City win it again. Look how advanced Diaz is. He's the last man, and he's 10-15 yards inside the West Ham half. So to get out of that is so difficult.
De Bruyne wide on the left-hand side, back to Guardiola, lovely swing of the hips to elude the attentions of Jared Bowen. Possession stats massively in Manchester City's favour. They are hogging the ball here. They are frustrating their opponents. Grealish, 10 yards outside the box, left-hand side, twists one way then the other, gives it to Kevin De Bruyne, back in field immediately to Ruben Diaz. This is one of 5 Premier League commentaries this weekend across 5 Live. Tomorrow we'll bring you Newcastle against Tottenham. It's a 1:30 start on 5 Live. At the same time, you've got the choice of listening to Chelsea against Crystal Palace on the BBC Sports website and app. And then at 4 o'clock, it's the big one at Old Trafford, Manchester United against Liverpool. Live on 5 Live with correspondent John Murray and with Dion Dublin tomorrow. One of the first big blockbuster games of the new campaign. Here at London Stadium, 33 minutes on the clock now, and City still lead West Ham 2-1. Stephen Kelly.
You know what's fascinating? No matter how many times you watch City, no matter how many times you see them do what they do, when they react to losing the ball and they get it back so quickly, it still kind of shocks you. You're going, how can they relentlessly go like this consistently every game? They lose the ball, they win it back within 5 or 6 seconds. It's amazing.
Mavropanos goes searching long for West Ham. Antonio comfortably beaten in the air by Ruben Diaz, but the loose ball is picked up by Lucas Paqueta here. Gives it infield to Bowen, who'll step into the penalty area. Kovacic just nipped back to toe poke it away from Jared Bowen, and it wasn't technically deemed to be a back pass, so Edison was able to pick it up.
Yeah, he was trying to find Kudus, who actually made a great run off Rico Lewis in behind the Kanji into the box.
6 goals now in 5 games for Erling Haaland against West Ham. 2 today, and he's continued his record of every time he's come up against a Julian Lopetegui team, he's always scored at least 2 goals in the game. So he's now up to 11 goals in 5 games against Lopetegui, who never wants to see Haaland again.
No, he's thinking that's it. I don't. It is. But his stats against everybody are phenomenal. That's the problem. There's no one that gets away from it.
Yeah. Julian Lopetegui, who is old friends with Pep Guardiola from the past. He was in the Barcelona squad for about 3 seasons with Guardiola when they were players. This is Kevin De Bruyne trying to thread an intricate ball into the penalty area. He nearly found Grealish, and Grealish was stopped by an outstretched foot of Konstantinos Mavropanos. He's put it out for a corner. He's hurt himself in the process. The Greek international slow to get back up to his feet, but he is okay to continue. Yeah, Lopetegui, who was a goalkeeper in his playing days, he was mostly a backup when he was in the books at Barcelona, but he was in the same squad as Guardiola. They played a handful of games together, and they did embrace warmly when they met each other coming out of the tunnel earlier on today. Corner kick taken by De Bruyne, short for Doku. Back to the Belgian, from one Belgian to another. Grealish returns it to Doku. Inside the penalty, the angles are so inventive from City at the moment. Mavropanos with a header, and now Antonio will pick it up inside his own penalty area, and he sets off like a train down the left-hand side. Hurdles away from Kovacic. Look at Haaland running back at him, and the battle of the 2 number 9s there as Erling Haaland pushes it out of play. But that's exactly what West Ham needed. Someone to take the bull by the horns, and Antonio's got the crowd vocal again.
Yeah, it's brilliant from Antonio. He picks up inside his own half and he drives forward with it and does well enough to actually keep possession of it, get a throw in for West Ham, which gives them a bit of possession. But you're looking at him and you think, look how quickly City were trying to get back on him and take the ball off him.
And Haaland, of all people, to be doing that sprinting back, which is not maybe what he's known for, but he looks so sharp, so fresh. And you know, our Norwegian listeners will not want to hear this, but from a Manchester City point of view, for Norway not to have qualified for the Euros, how beneficial that currently looks to Manchester City.
When you think that the season started and some of the lads had only finished 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, it's so huge to have a player that's you want to play and be the lead the line so many times. And when you think on top of that, the fact that Alvarez is gone, is there going to be more emphasis on him not having a substitute to come and replace him? So those game times, those minutes, the Champions League, those extra games, it's all going to toll up, and him missing out on the European Championships again internationally, he'd be disappointed, but for City fans, they'd be delighted with that. Yeah,
Erling Haaland, who spent the summer drinking that unpasteurised milk that he loves and just raring to go back in the new campaign. And boy, has he hit the ground running, up to 6 Premier League goals already as he tries to win the Premier League Golden Boot 3 years in a row. Only 2 players have ever done that before. Alan Shearer in the mid-90s and Thierry Henry did it in the noughties. As Akanji has possession for Manchester City, midway inside the West Ham half. Bernardo Silva change of direction, low ball into Allen. What a touch! Rico Lewis, this should be 3! Can't keep it down, puts it over the top. Good defending from Kilman, to be fair. Put pressure on Lewis all the way there until he had the shot. But Haaland he is on fire.
He is, yeah. Like I said, this is not part of his game that we're used to seeing and being so effective, but just drops in, little one touch around the corner, puts on a play for Lewis, who, again, Kilman gets back and puts him under pressure, but he's got to hit the target from there, test the goalkeeper. Wonderful play from City, and they probably should be 3-0 up.
Yeah, West Ham 1, Manchester City 2. You mentioned the intelligence of Kevin De Bruyne. That was a De Bruyne type touch from Haaland, and I think there's no greater praise than that.
No, there is no greater praise, and to be honest, you're just talking about them there the same sentence as Alan Shearer and Thierry Henry, and I'm not sure there's much greater praise than that when you're talking about attacking players in the Premier League.
And he's only just turned 24 last month,
yeah,
so he's got a way to go. Here is Ruben Diaz, halfway line for Manchester City. Haaland, whose Premier League debut was here on this pitch against this opponent, scored 2 against West Ham, opening day of the season for City 2 seasons ago. Ruben Diaz here has been a dreadful pass. That's a worse touch than the one he put into his own net, way behind Doku.
Yeah, that for a City player, that's absolutely dreadful. Wouldn't mind, but Rico Lewis had made a great run inside, dragging the full-back in, leaving Doku in acres of space, and he just gets it all wrong.
Rico Lewis providing the assist for Haaland's second goal. And that was Rico Lewis's first ever Premier League assist. So 2-1 to Manchester City, and West Ham with work to do, but still plenty time to go.
But what's scary about City is that probably their best player's not even on the pitch.
Rodri, yeah. Frightening. No Phil Foden either, who was just the player of the year last season. That's all. Grealish here does a pass back from the halfway line all the way back to Edison, because he probably feels the Brazilian's feeling lonely, away to the right hand side. 39 minutes on the clock. Rico Lewis, right hand side, low ball to the feet of Jeremy Doku. Emerson close by him. Doku will pass it back to the goalkeeper Edison from a position just inside his own half, and City will build from deep once again. Match of the day tonight on BBC One at 10:20. Danny Murphy and Joe Hart will be with Gary Lineker. They'll have highlights from all of today's games, all the post-match reaction from the managers and the players. I think Sean Dyche's interview is going to be interesting. I think Mikel Arteta's interview is going to be particularly interesting. More reaction to all those games, of course, coming up with Chappers at half-time here on 5 Live. Here's Doku into the penalty area, left-footed shot, but he had brought it from his right onto his left, and he seemed to stumble in that manoeuvre, and it wasn't a clean connection, and he's claiming it should be a corner. And I think the referee agrees. Corner to Manchester City on the right-hand side.
Yeah, it is. He drives in the box, and it's funny because Rico Lewis is streaming in, and I'm like, stay back. That's a time when your winger picks up the ball, you leave him and just let him go, because you know he's got the momentum, he's getting into the box. Yeah, maybe an overlap, but let him take the defender on, because as a fullback, if you're marking him, you can't touch him. All you can do is stay on your feet and pray that he doesn't go past you.
Corner to City. Kevin De Bruyne raises both arms as a signal to his teammates in the middle. City playing right to left as we look down in this first half, which is drawing towards a close. Right-footed, outswinger. Ruben Diaz heads down. Bernardo Silva heads across, and Emerson clears it off the goal line. It wasn't going goal-bound, but it was going across the goal line, and Emerson clears away for West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham be disappointed how they've dealt with set plays as well. First contact into the box from most corners have been a City player, and then it's Bernardo Silva, far post on his own with a free header. Again, he probably should have gotten this in target, but he's just trying to put it back into an area for another City player to come onto it.
West Ham, who have been direct under Julian Lopetegui, even when they lost here to Villa in the opening game, they were creating opportunities, they were having shots. They found that much more difficult to do against the champions here today. As Rico Lewis plays the ball back into Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz, whose own goal briefly made this game 1-1 before Haaland got his second. Doku, right-hand side, in around the back of Antonio, now into the penalty area, pulls it back. Guardiola tried a sort of half volley on the edge of the penalty area, but he was charged down. And then Guido Rodriguez, the Argentinian World Cup winner, is able to win it back for West Ham. Antonio in a left-back position clears away, but that's not where they want Antonio. They want Antonio over the spearhead of the attack, and that's the difficulty for West Ham at the moment, getting it out of their final third.
Because City put so many bodies forward, Antonio finds he has to drop back in to give them some sort of numerical advantage when they're defending, but then when the ball comes out, he's finding himself so deep that it's a 60-70 yard run with the ball if he wants to get the ball up the pitch.
Before kick-off today, there was a minute's applause for Sven-Göran Eriksson, who, as well as being a former England manager, he was former Manchester City manager too. The Swede who passed away this past week at the age of 76, 18 managerial trophies in his career. And he was warmly respected by both sets of fans before kick-off here today, as I'm sure he was at many grounds up and down the land. 2-1 Manchester City. West Ham, who may have lost their opening home game against Villa 2 weeks ago here. You've got to go back almost 2 years for the last time West Ham lost 2 home Premier League games back-to-back. As Doku gets to the byline, down the right-hand side, tries to pull it back for Rico Lewis. Edson Alvarez does well to get his body in the way. The Mexican, holding off the teenager, plays a slightly high-risk pass into Antonio, who's almost caught, and he is caught by Kevin De Bruyne, but caught in an illegal way, and it's going to be a yellow card for the Belgian. Kevin De Bruyne sees yellow.
Yeah, Antonio just takes his touch away from De Bruyne, flies into a tackle, catches him late. Antonio's down. You can just see how hurt he is, but there's been a slight change of shape for West Ham. They've put Antonio to left wing, and Bowen's gone central, and Kudus is now on the right-hand side, so they've just changed up slightly to see if they can get probably a little bit more joy in the forward areas. So they've got those front three, and Paqueta's just kind of dropping in behind them, but it's just a slight change in it tactically from them.
That is the first booking of the game. Manchester City, who had the fewest yellow cards of all Premier League teams last season. Don't get many of those, but Kevin De Bruyne on the yellow now as Bernardo Silva plays it to the edge of the penalty area. The City attack, and Haaland is chopped down, and that is going to be a free kick to Manchester City right on the edge of the box. Edson Alvarez, one of the 2 changes in Julian Lopetegui's team today. And I don't think there's much doubt about the fact that he fouled Erling Haaland there.
Yeah, no, it's a definite foul. Haaland again, his touch just looks so sharp. Comes back inside so often you'd see it bounce off him, and people talking about not being a number 9. His touch has been immaculate. Comes into him, receives the ball, perfectly calm, steps away, is creating a space for Grealish. Is on the overlap on the outside, and looks like he was trying to find him and gets fouled, and this is a advantageous position for De Bruyne.
This could hardly be better. If you said to Kevin De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva, go on, you can place it anywhere, right? What is your ideal position for a free kick? This is where they'd put it. Kevin De Bruyne, right-footed, just over the top. It brushed the roof of the net.
Yeah, it is. Goalkeeper, if he gets us on target, he's struggling to get back across there because he's gone over the wall. He's trying to bend around. It's a beautiful free kick. We've seen it again on the monitor. It just doesn't dip in time.
Kevin De Bruyne got his first goal of the new season against Ipswich last weekend. He's got his first ever goal for Manchester City was against West Ham. As we move into stoppage time at the end of the first half, 2 minutes to be added on. West Ham 1, Manchester City 2. If you're joining our coverage late, Haaland got the opener after 10 minutes. City hit the woodwork, Kevin De Bruyne. Then, against the run of play, West Ham equalised. Bowen's cross turned into his own net by Ruben Diaz. And then on the half-hour mark, Haaland made it 2-1. Here come West Ham. Could they level it up again? Kudos into the penalty area, drags it across the face of goal. That wasn't a bad effort, you know. It looked like he'd maybe taken too long, but he pulled a shot out of the bag, and it skidded across the face of goal and wide.
Yeah. But every time Kudos receives the ball, he's so excited. He excites me when he gets on it. And if you're a fullback, Rico Lewis, you do not want him running at you. Couple of little touches, takes it on the outside, hits it across goal, but he just drags it wide. Doesn't get a connection he wants. Pulls it past the post, but that's a glimpse of the threat he can be. Bowen's shown it on this side, he's shown it the other side. They are very dangerous, but West Ham just have to get the ball to them.
It was kind of lost amid other events on the day, but when City won the league last day of the season by beating West Ham, Mohamed Kudus scored a brilliant goal, which, you know, obviously the story was City and getting the trophy and all that. We didn't look back at the goal too often, but, you know, a proper bicycle kick. And how West Ham fans would love if he could get on the score sheet again today. 2-1 their team trail. Kovacic gives it away on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. This is Mavropanos bringing it out from the back. Gives it to Kudos here, near the centre circle. Manages to spin away from Bernardo Silva. Plays a pass to the near side to Jared Bowen. West Ham have got to get Bowen on the ball a bit more. He's their danger man. Tries to play a ball into the edge of the penalty area, but Ruben Diaz with the interception. Bowen will get it back again, but West Ham are back inside their own half. Mavropanos has got the bravery here to take on Jack Grealish and sprint past him. He runs into Kovacic, and he's quite fortunate not to lose the ball there. It ricochets and sits up for Guido Fernandes. New free signing from Real Betis. As the referee blows the whistle for half-time, and it's once again the Erling Haaland show. 2 goals from the Norwegian have Manchester City 2-1 in front. Stephen Kelly.
2 wonderful goals. First one's great, instinctive, playing it just past. The second one, though, the touch, finish, top roof of the net. and City have been excellent. They probably could have a higher lead than they do now, but West Ham still operating a tread in those wide areas if they can get the ball to Kudos and Bowen.
It's not over yet, but West Ham have got a huge shift to put in the second 45 minutes. For now, West Ham 1, Manchester City 2.
Thank you very much to Connor and Stephen. Second half on the way here on 5 Live, and then our Paralympics coverage takes over. After that, the story of the day in the Premier League, Everton were 2-0 up at Goodison Park, but then Bournemouth scored in the 87th minute, in the 2nd minute of second half stoppage time, and in the 6th minute of second half stoppage time, and they beat Sean Dyche's side by 3-2. Everton stay bottom of the Premier League. They're pointless, as are Southampton, after a 3-1 defeat at Brentford. Brighton and Arsenal drew at the Emirates in the lunchtime game. Declan Rice sent off for 2 yellow cards. You'll be able to see that on Match of the Day, 10:20 tonight on BBC One. There are also 1-1 draws between Ipswich and Fulham, and Forest and Wolves. Aston Villa 1-2-1 at Leicester. We'll have more reaction to those games. We'll also hear from Joe Root during half-time, after he went past Alistair Cook's record of Test centuries for England's men. Let's talk golf. Been a good day for Great Britain and Ireland in the Curtis Cup. Ian Carter.
Yes, it's coming to its conclusion with Great Britain and Ireland winning both of the 4 balls completed so far this afternoon. Hannah Darling and Mimi Rhodes taking the first point, then Lorna McClymont and Beth Coulter. Coulter with 2 excellent birdies to close out a 2-1 victory, and they're 1 up Great Britain and Ireland in the final match. That's on the 17th green as it stands at the moment. The overall score 6.5, 4.5 in favour of Great Britain and Ireland. They have to get to 10.5 tomorrow with 8 singles to win back the trophy for the first time since 2016.
Ian, thank you very much. Commentary on Sports Extra right now of the US Open tennis. Abigail Johnson.
Yeah, on a cloudy day in Flushing Meadows, there are bright prospects for the Brits in third-round singles action. World number 25 Jack Draper is facing Carlos Alcaraz's Victor Botic van de Zandschulp on grandstand, where victory would see him into a second straight 4th round at this tournament. He leads 4-2 and serving in the opening set. Dan Evans to play his second successive US Open third round on that same court later today. Not before 7 p.m. local time. He takes on number 10 seed Alex de Minaur.
In the World Rugby Union Championship, South Africa came from 12-11 down at half-time to beat New Zealand by 20 points to 15. Argentina against Australia is an 11 o'clock kickoff tonight. 2 games in Super League today. It finished Hull 20, Castleford 39. Catalan against Wigan is an 8 o'clock kickoff. So reaction from the day's Premier League football to come, and we'll hear from Joe Root as well. But at 6:20, Jill McKenzie has the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
2 people who were attacked in separate incidents at Notting Hill Carnival have died from their injuries. 32-year-old Cher Maximum was at the carnival with her 3-year-old daughter when she was stabbed on Sunday. Museum Netu, a 41-year-old chef, was found unconscious with a head injury on Monday. Some babies in Gaza have been vaccinated against polio ahead of a mass immunisation programme starting tomorrow, which is expected to reach more than 600,000 children. Israel and Hamas have agreed 3 localised pauses in fighting where the vaccinations are taking place. The government says fans have been taken advantage of when trying to buy tickets to see their favourite artists and promised a consultation on how to stop people being ripped off by ticket touts. Thousands of people have spent today in online queues to get tickets for the Oasis reunion tour. And Fat Man Scoop has died aged 53 after collapsing on stage in Connecticut on Friday. The American hip-hop star had a UK #1 hit in 2003 with Be Faithful and appeared on Celebrity Big Brother in 2015.
I'm Matt Shorley, coming to you live from Westminster, Monday to Friday from 2 o'clock. It's politics, but how it affects you. It's the funny stories, the people and the personalities that make up the Westminster Village. But I want to explain how it works. Order! I've worked there for 20 years now. I really know all the people, the quiet corridors, and I know how to find the stories about what's really happening in politics which affect you. As soon as the news breaks, I can bang on the wall and one of the BBC correspondents will come running in and tell us what's going on.
Matt Shorley.
Join me for Monday at 2
on BBC Radio 5 Live. This is 5 Live Sport.
With Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
3 tea-time games going on at the moment in the football. West Ham 1, Manchester City 2 in the Premier League at half-time. Half an hour gone, or just over half an hour gone in the Scottish Premiership, and it's goalless between Ross County and Aberdeen. One game in the National League. The two sides relegated from League Two last season are meeting at Sutton, and it's the visitors who lead there at half-time. Forest Green Rovers are a 1-0 up. Reaction from the Premier League then during half-time. Bournemouth coming from 2-0 down at Goodison to beat Everton 3-2. All the goals coming from the 87th minute on from the visitors. Lewis Cook got their equaliser. He's been talking with Stephen Wyeth.
Lewis, where did that come from? 87 minutes on the clock. You seem to be heading for a 2-0 defeat. Instead, you win the game 3-2.
It's a crazy result. I think football for the neutral there we'd really enjoyed that. I think it probably changed. Obviously, we were at our levels today at all, and then I think there was a little scuffle in our box, and in my opinion, Antoine got him a bit riled up, and he completely changed the game. He showed his strength, and it really brought us on to push for the goals.
Dare I ask, was that intentional? Because you needed something from somewhere. You hadn't even had a shot on target until well into the 80-odd minutes. Did you need to demonstrate some fire in the belly?
Probably. I think we just, I don't know, it's a really tough place to come. I think obviously the atmosphere was top today, and I think we just needed to try and play our stuff a little bit better, win the duels in the second balls, and like I say, a little scuffle, and we kind of just pushed us on really. We wanted to at least put a dent in the game, and we definitely did that.
Lewis Cook after Bournemouth's 3-2 win at Goodison. Aston Villa held on at the King Power, finished 2-1 to Unai Emery's side. Here he is with Andy Gillies.
Well done. I wonder what your thoughts are. You must be very pleased, first of all, with the win, and your thoughts on the performance and today.
Very happy because we finished August playing 3 matches in Premier League, and it's the first target in our season. And we needed to start more or less being competitive. Even during the transfer window was not easy because some players they were confused, I am leaving or not. If some players was as well, we could sign and try to adapt quick in the squad. But we needed to compete like we did, and achieving 6 points in 3 matches, but competing those 3 matches perfect and competing very well and with the mentality I want. And today we show we did it as well. Sometimes struggling, difficult match away, but competing very well.
Unai Emery after Aston Villa's 2-1 win. Brentford beat Southampton 3-1. 2 of their goals came from Brian Mbeumo, who's with Robin Cowan.
Brian, congratulations. How much did you enjoy that today?
Yeah, it's been a very good performance from the team. I think we stuck to the plan. The gaffer told us earlier, and it worked well.
How much are you enjoying playing at home in particular this season? You seem to be thriving off it, 3 goals already.
Yeah, of course, it's like I love playing home in front of the fans. They always try to help us, even in tough moments. So yeah, I can only thank them for that.
How much are you enjoying linking up with Johan Wissa? I know you've done it a lot over the past, but it now seems to be you two are the main men.
Yeah, of course, we have a very good relationship on the pitch and even out the pitch. I think this is a key thing because we can always work together, even if we're not playing.
And in terms of Ivan Toney, a lot of talk about him, and finally his future has been decided. What are your feelings on his departure?
Yeah, of course, it's a big miss now. He helped us a lot, scored a lot of goals, and yeah, I'm happy for him, and I wish him all the best.
All the goals on Match of the Day tonight on BBC One. Tomorrow on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, you've got Newcastle against Tottenham and Manchester United against Liverpool. It's also Celtic Rangers for the first time tomorrow in the Scottish Premiership. Let's switch to the cricket. Joe Root now holds the record for the most Test centuries for England after scoring 1 in both innings of the second Test against Sri Lanka, and he's been talking to Jonathan Agnew.
How much does this record mean to you?
Like I say, I've got a lot of cricket still to play yet. It'd be nice bragging rights to have a beer with Cookie now and have a few chats about it.
He took it very well, by the way. He was very magnanimous again.
I'm sure he was. But yeah, still a lot of work to do. So
You've got records of following when you're the highest run scorer at Lords now. Did you know that?
Well, it's all plastered up on the TV earlier, so we saw it all. But yeah, they're all nice things to.
Yeah. Highest run scorer coming up. Well, I don't want to bring Cookie into this. I feel it's sad, but he's not far away from becoming England's highest run scorer.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's a long way past that. I mean, like I say, I want to play for a lot longer. I feel like I'm a long way to go yet. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
53 for 2 Sri Lanka when bad light stopped play at Lords. England earlier all out for 251. So it means Sri Lanka still need another 430 to win with those 8 wickets remaining. Steve Finn waiting to talk to us. There's a real determination there from Joe Root, isn't there? When he talks about there's still work to be done, I don't think he's talking about this Test match. I think he's talking about the future years of his career.
Yeah, he's breathing down Sir Alistair Cook's neck. I think he's going to enjoy that when he goes past him to be England's leading ever run scorer, which is only 100 or so runs away now. You wouldn't put it past him to do it next week at the Oval, but yeah, he seems so hungry. He's still fit. And he still wants to get better. Each time he practices, you see him practicing, he concentrates so hard. He's like a fine wine. He's only getting better. And I'd imagine that in his sights, around 3,500 runs away is Sachin Tendulkar, who has the most runs in Test cricket history. And that's about 3 years Test cricket for Root. He's 33, so I think that is firmly in his sights.
That was actually going to be my next question with him, really. He's only 33. He's been around for a very long time. But that's because he was such a talented kid as well.
Yeah, you could tell when you first saw him. I was on the tour where he made his debut in 2012, and I'm 2 years older than him, and I'm over the hill and long gone by now. So he had this remarkable tenacity just to be able to. He was just different. Like when you bowl at people, and I was at the top of my game pretty much then, and you bowl at him in the nets, and you think he's making this look really easy. He's then taken that into the Test arena, and as his career's gone on, he's just got better and better. It really is remarkable. And
there is no. Normally you can start to tell, can't you, when players are maybe at the top of the hill or just about to go over the other side of it. I mean, there is no sign of that with him. He is still, isn't he, England's best batter.
Yeah, by quite a considerable distance as well, I think. Harry Brook, once he works out Test cricket, I think will be put in the same bracket as being up there, because I think that he's capable. But yeah, Joe Root he's just marvellous to watch, and he's someone who's so in control of what he does. He can perfectly pace the innings. He reads the conditions and the situation of the game so well. It's no surprise really that he was the one that held the innings together on day one here at Lords, and then he's matched it with a century in the second innings.
And as far as the match is concerned, I mean, England are in a very, very strong position. Obviously, weather permitting, you would expect them to finish that off tomorrow, wouldn't you?
Yeah, the Sri Lankans might be doing a few rain dances overnight to try and pray that it chucks down and floods Lords, because without that, they're in serious trouble. They're 430 runs behind. They've lost 2 wickets. Their 2 openers are gone, their number 1 and number 3 have gone. Yeah, they face an uphill task. It's a shame actually, because they put up a great fight in that first Test at Old Trafford, and you felt as though with that under their belt and the competitiveness that they showed, that they'd come here and give a better showing over the course of a whole game. I fear they got their decision at the toss wrong. They got spooked by the fact that they lost 3 early wickets in the first and 2 in the second innings. In Manchester, that led them to bowl first, and that brilliant Gus Atkinson century and that Root masterclass really put the game to bed, it felt like, on the first day.
Ideally, they'd have probably wanted to bat first and third and then hope that their spinners caused England a problem in the final innings.
Yeah, when I woke up on the morning of day one, I opened my curtains at home and it was a clear blue sky, and having played a lot of cricket at Lords, in August, if it's clear blue skies, you'll win the toss and you bat first, and Ollie Pope would have batted first had he won the toss. It felt like a misstep at the time, especially given the makeup of their attack. Their slow left armer was probably their most dangerous bowler in the last Test match. It felt as though that was the best way to win this game, and as it happens, it's going to be exactly how England end up winning it, having lost the toss.
Thank you very much, Stephen.
Pleasure.
Stephen Finn at Lords TMS Pod. out shortly on BBC Sounds. You'll hear more from Joe Root and you'll hear from Alistair Cook as well. Plenty of chance of medals for Paralympics GB in the pool this evening. Maz Faruqi.
Well, I don't think the GB fans inside the La Défense Arena have sat down in the last hour or so, Mark. An astonishing opening hour or so. 3 gold medals, 2 world records for Stephen Clegg and then for Will Ellard. A Paralympic record for Alice Ty, a second quicker than anything else she's swum this season to win the women's 100-metre backstroke in the SA class. And I've just been speaking to her 2 years on since she had her right leg amputated below the knee. She's just saying what a special moment this is. Still to come, we've still got 13-year-old Iona Winifrith going in the women's 200-metre individual medley in the SM7 category. That is an event in which she is the European champion, and Scarlett Humphrey as well to go later in the women's 50-metre freestyle. So potentially more medals, but we've already got 3 golds, a silver and a bronze on the board tonight.
Paralympics coverage starts at the conclusion of the tea time commentary in the Premier League. Back to the London Stadium. West Ham 2-1 down against Manchester City, and they've changed their goalkeeper, Conor McNamara.
Yes, Alphonse Areola will not be beaten by Erling Haaland again today because he's been replaced by Lukas Fabianski, 39 years of age now. The former Polish international comes on for his 200th appearance for West Ham. He's only ever been involved in 1 win against City in his career. That was back when he was an Arsenal player 14 years ago. But Fabianski is on for West Ham. That is the only change across the 2 teams. 2 goals from Erling Haaland, an own goal from Ruben Diaz. City winning 2-1 away at West Ham with the second half to play, and City immediately into attack mode at the start of the second period. Edison's the goalkeeper, Akanji, Diaz and Guardiola the back 3, Rico Lewis with Kovacic in the holding midfield positions, Doku wide right, Grealish wide left, Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne in support of Erling Haaland through the centre. The West Ham team, Fabianski in goal, back 4 of Aaron Wan-Bissaka making his first Premier League start for his new team, having joined from Manchester United. Mavropanos and Kilman in the middle, Emerson as the left back, 3 in midfield, Edson Alvarez, Guido Rodriguez and Lucas Paqueta. And then there's Jared Bowen and Mohamed Kudus supporting Mikel Antonio in attack. Antonio, who scored home and away against City 4 seasons ago. He's got 3 goals against them, but he's not had much of a sniff today. Made 1 great run from his own penalty area to almost to the other penalty area in the game, but hasn't been afforded any sort of shot-taking position in the game so far. Both coaches back out on the edge of their technical areas looking on, and Manchester City on the edge of their own penalty area in possession. Stephen Kelly.
Yeah, West Ham just gone back into the shape they started the game, where Kudus is out on his left-hand side, Bowen is out on the right, and Antonio's down the middle. They changed it slightly in the first half, but it didn't really make much of a difference in the game or change the tempo. But you would like to think if they can get the ball into those wide areas, they can cause City a problem, but it's just they've had such a lack of possession, they haven't been able to get out there.
City were back out at half-time before West Ham re-emerged, and you might have heard the story over the summer that Manchester City were fined for being late out for second halves in recent seasons. So Pep Guardiola kept the team talk short today. Here's Jeremy Doku into the penalty area for City, right-hand side, pulls it back and well cut out by Rodriguez, who had to really scramble to ensure it didn't go for a corner. He gets it out for a throw into Manchester City down the right-hand side.
Yeah, again, Doku just taking his player on, but then trying to cut it back. Rico Lewis had made a great run into the box, got himself in a decent position, but it gets blocked by West Ham, and City just don't get it back and continue on the onslaught.
Here's Bernardo Silva outside the penalty area on the right hand side. Lucas Paqueta tries to get it off him. Akanji has to come across and help. Looked like a push on Kevin De Bruyne by Guido Rodriguez, but the referee says play on. City get it back with Akanji. Low ball infield to the heart of the midfield and Mateo Kovacic, and here come Manchester City again. De Bruyne out to Grealish on the left hand side, steps into the penalty area, up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka and cannons it off the former Manchester United player and out for a Manchester City corner, their first of this second half.
Yeah, Grealish has looked really sharp when he's getting on the ball. He's willing to take on Wan-Bissaka. He's dropping into nice positions, and then every time he's pretty much found that pass or deliver with some quality into the box.
So De Bruyne will take the corner from the left-hand side as City come forward. Full house in London Stadium today. Doku's gone out to offer a short corner option. It's played in low, and Bernardo Silva puts it over the top. It came in low, but it bounced up, and Bernardo Silva tried to stoop down and head the ball from about 10 yards out maybe, and he puts it both high and wide.
From the angle where you could see the ball sees Diaz just hold his runner, Bernardo Silva, and just tries to feed it into him in the box, but the bounce kicks up and doesn't allow him to get his header on target, but it's a clever corner again.
5 Live Sport on until 9 o'clock tonight, this Saturday evening. Katie Smith is at the Stade de France, picking up at full time here at London Stadium. She'll bring us the night's Paralympic action, including commentary of GB great David Weir in the men's 5,000. Meanwhile, Jack Draper in the US Open will be following that third round. You can listen on Sports Extra to that. This is Doku on the right-hand side for Manchester City. He's done well to spin away from Emerson. He's got Bernardo Silva in support. Kovacic is arriving just outside the D that City attack. Gives it back into the penalty area to Bernardo Silva. Shovels it with the outside of his left boot, but behind Erling Haaland, and West Ham can clear away.
Yeah, Doku really sharp again. Bernardo Silva picking up the scraps, but then just tries to bend it with the outside of his left foot into Haaland, who's peeled off the shoulder, but he gets intercepted by the West Ham defender. But again, it's relentless. City just pick up the second ball and go again.
Approaching half-time in the evening game in Scotland. Ross County 0, Aberdeen 0 in the Scottish Premiership. Earlier on today, 2-2 between Dundee and St Mirren. And St Johnstone were beaten at home by Motherwell by 2-1. Grealish in possession for Manchester City. Left-hand side as they come forward. Infield to Kevin De Bruyne. There's a layoff by Haaland. Not as delicate and accurate as the one he did in the first half. Couldn't find Rico Lewis. Kudos playing a high-risk game inside his own penalty area. Tries to dribble out of trouble. Eventually clears it away, and Akanji immediately recaptures possession for Manchester City, who've started the second half in determined mood.
Yeah, they just, like I said, as soon as West Ham win the ball back, it's pressure, force them into a mistake. Akanji or Diaz will sweep it up, and then we'll just keep the ball again, and City just look like a team with a bit between their teeth.
So free kick to Manchester City midway inside West Ham territory. West Ham, who've got 3 London derbies coming up in a row after this, after the international break. Their next Premier League game is away at Fulham, then they've got Chelsea here at London Stadium, and then they cross town to play Brentford. For the moment, they trail 2-1 to the champions. De Bruyne's free kick, right-footed into the penalty area. Guido Rodriguez wins the header, gives it straight to Jack Grealish on the edge of the box. He plays it to the left-hand side. Guardiola's low delivery in. Haaland on a hat-trick, tries to pounce, but it just doesn't sit up for him. And Ruben Diaz in front of him, and now Kudos breaks away, and it's 3-on-2, and he finds Bowen. Bowen returns it to Kudos. Must be for West Ham. Left-footed shot off the post. How does this game remain in Manchester City's favour? A lightning-fast counter-attack, and Kudos and Bowen seem to do nothing wrong in the build-up, but Manchester City survive.
It's a lightning break. Kudos dodges the tackle of Doku initially, drives forward, pass into Bowden's path, who I thought he was going to take on himself, but he finds Kudos again, one touch, smashes it off the upright, comes back out. West Ham should be even with that chance, but they're the 2 players who are going to change the game for them. They're the ones that can cause to have the ability to unlock that City defence with their pace and their tenacity when they're going forward.
That's how West Ham scored in the first half, forcing the old goal from Diaz. Can they force that kind of issue again as this game continues? Fast breaks, it would appear, are the best access route for West Ham back into the game. Let's get an update for the tennis and Abby Johnson.
Just recently, a 5th set point converted by Jack Draper to lead 6-3 in his third-round match with Botic van der Zandschulp on grandstand. He's been struggling to find his big first serve, so that will feel good as he continues to target a second straight US Open 4th round.
Thank you very much. Back here at the London Stadium, 2-1 to Manchester City against West Ham. Bowen, brilliant first touch inside the penalty area. Tries to get it back in his left boot. Grealish, though, anticipated that and was able to close the space. Bowen still has possession. Now with his right, he crosses, he's unlucky. He crosses in, hits Guardiola, comes back and hits Bowen, and goes out not for a corner but a goal kick.
It's when you look at Kudos and Bowen, you think they could fit into this City team with the way they play, with their touches, with their passing, with their how electric they are when they're on the ball. They're willing to make a touch. It's just they're their outlet. They have to get the ball to them. It's just when you win the ball back, can you actually take time to make a pass and not give it straight back to City? Find 2 of those, either one of those feet, and you have a chance in this game.
Reminder, you can listen to tomorrow's Italian Grand Prix on the BBC Sport website and app, plus the Checkered Flag podcast on BBC Sounds will be available to wrap things up tomorrow evening. So both teams have now hit the woodwork in the game. De Bruyne in the first half for City, Kudos in the second half there for West Ham. The 2 goals from Erling Haaland have City in front, but West Ham beginning to show a bit of fight, beginning to roll up their sleeves here as Rico Lewis has possession for City and brings the ball over the halfway line. City playing from left to right as we look down. Doku infield to Bernardo Silva, who is getting on a little bit in age, but he still covers so much ground for his team. Back to Doku, who's tackled by Lucas Paqueta, but the Brazilian is unlucky there because the loose ball fell comfortably for Rico Lewis, and Manchester City hold on to possession. Kovacic, centre of the midfield, low to the feet of Lewis. Now to Guardiola on the left-hand side. West Ham been forced to fall back into a defensive formation. They're hoping they can spring a counter-attack again, as they did with much excitement a few minutes ago. We haven't played 10 minutes yet in the second half.
Yeah, it's been a great game so far, it really has. Even though City have dominated possession and chances, West Ham still look a threat.
This is Doku on the right-hand side, level with the edge of the penalty area that City attack. Rolls it back to Akanji, back again to Ruben Diaz. Walking pace now, he holds the ball at his feet and he surveys the options up ahead. Rolls it low to Kevin De Bruyne. Now the injection of pace. Bernardo Silva's unlucky. Didn't quite fall for him on the edge of the box. It ricocheted off the knees of Maximilian Kilman, and Kilman was able to clear away. But this is what West Ham want. Bowen on the ball, scorching away from Guardiola on the right-hand side as West Ham come forward. Guardiola did well to get back goal side. West Ham hold on to possession, but they're back of the halfway line.
Yeah, Bowen did well. He pounces on Guardiola's bad touch, wins the possession, but then he's clever. He doesn't try and force down the line. He turns back and keeps possession for his team. Gives them a little bit of a respite defensively to be able to hold on to the ball.
West Ham, who beat Manchester City in the League Cup here 3 seasons ago. It was a game that was 0-0 after 90 minutes, and they won on a penalty shootout. Today the early goal, just 10 minutes on the clock when Haaland got the first one, threatened to really derail West Ham's day, but they are hanging on in there. Wan-Bissaka, right full-back position for West Ham, rolls it up to the halfway line, plays a nice 1-2 with Bowen, and he's away. Wan-Bissaka, this is good, gets away from Guardiola, pulls Diaz out of position. Here's the cross into the middle, just too far ahead of Antonio and Kudos. Kudos sprints out to the corner flag to keep it in play, and he manages to do so. Back to Lucas Paqueta, on the edge of the box, unfortunate again. He tried to thread it for Emerson Palmieri, but Bernardo Silva got in the way and was able to clear it away from Manchester City, who still have to fully complete the clearance here. Bernardo Silva in by the corner flag, keeps his cool, rolls it to Akanji, and City have been able to get it up towards Haaland, but he's challenged firmly by Kilman, and West Ham get it back again, and you can hear the roars of encouragement from the West Ham fans.
Yeah, West Ham, this is better from them. Paqueta, though, he's just been a little bit loose in possession. He has to make sure he makes that pass, especially when they get to the final third. They're not going to get that many opportunities, and when you get there, can you make it count?
Lucas Paqueta returns 27 this week. Mavropanos gives it to Wan-Bissaka up against Jack Grealish. We haven't seen Wan-Bissaka come forward very often in the game, but as we know, it can be one of his strengths. He gives it to Edson Alvarez. This is all happening 10 yards or so outside the Manchester City penalty area. Right-hand side as West Ham come forward. Good ball played in by Bowen, but Kudos couldn't quite get his body shape right. Lewis was in close attendance. He tried to spin away, and he was off balance, and he lost it.
Yeah, it's a really good ball in from Bowen. Kudos just can't adjust himself to try and make contact with it. Another good ball earlier from Wan-Bissaka, and Kudos again just couldn't get in there, but they've looked dangerous on that right-hand side, putting decent balls in the box, and Kudos is willing to get in there. You just can't make the contact on the end.
Yeah, Mohamed Kudos is an excellent player with the ball at his feet. Maybe his head isn't his strongest attribute, and he never seemed to want to go in and attack that as a header. He wanted to take it down, and it wasn't the right scenario for that. Pep Guardiola is in the ear of the 4th official, James Bell, down below us. He's got something he wants to remonstrate about down there. Guardiola, who knows, this ain't over yet. He's not counting any chickens at London Stadium, despite his team leading by 2-1. But West Ham have moved up a gear. Paqueta floats one over the top and finds Bowen. What a great first touch. Pulls it for Antonio, who, closely marked by Akanji, can't get a shot at it. The ball goes out for a West Ham throw, and they want to take it quickly. And the fans all around us are finding their feet, and they're finding their vocal encouragement. And these West Ham fans feel their team is getting back into this slowly but surely. Kudos has it on the left-hand side. Gives it back to Lucas Paqueta. We're seeing more of him on the ball in the second half. We're seeing more of Bowen on the ball. This is Mavropanos. to Wan-Bissaka, 15 yards outside the penalty area that West Ham attack. Gives it to Bowen. Bowen up against Guardiola. Comes in field of him. Great ball in. Antonio tries to strike. And good defending by Akanji. Forces it out for a corner. West Ham are banging on the door. They trail 2-1.
They really are. This is their best bit of play from West Ham. Jar Bowen is having such an influence on this game now. He's looked so sharp, so dangerous. Initially that ball over the top, his first touch, second touch to put it into Antonio. This time here now he whips into Antonio's feet and he just can't get the turn on it. Akanji comes across and puts in a great block.
Mikel Antonio, who's 34 now, but he is using his physical prowess to full effect at the moment. Here comes the corner. Played in. Akanji's header goes straight up into the air. Edison comes way off his goal line but punches it away. And then the shouts to shoot for Guido Rodriguez. And he obeys the instruction from the crowd, but he doesn't get a clean connection. And the shot skids well wide. And it's a goal kick to City, who lead 2-1.
He reluctantly obeyed, didn't he? He kind of strolled up to thinking, I don't really want to hit this, and you can tell the outcome was that. He just kind of shanks it wide, didn't really have any conviction in it.
Looking for his first goal as a West Ham player, Guido Rodriguez, who made one appearance for Argentina in the summer as they won Copa America. He also played as part of the victorious World Cup campaign in Qatar. And he's given a little bit of extra edge to the West Ham midfield with his arrival on a free transfer from Real Betis. Here is Kovacic, who scored against his old club Chelsea on the opening weekend. Ruben Diaz, who has scored an own goal in this game, his third Premier League own goal for City. Guardiola on the halfway line. Kevin De Bruyne dropping deep, head always up, scanning the horizon, looking for options. We've reached the hour mark. And when East London, Doku spins away from Everson and is caught by the Italian international, and Doku too hot to handle there. The acceleration, I don't actually think that Everson meant to foul him there, but he lunged in for a tackle and he couldn't believe Doku had moved out of the way so quickly.
Yeah, he just stops it with his studs and just touches around the corner. He's gone. There's no way you can get to him, but you have to stay on your feet. Draws the foul and City get possession.
If West Ham are beginning to knock on the door, and if Manchester City are going to have to do a bit of defending, it is interesting that Rodri has gone to warm up for the first time.
Yeah, well, not a bad player to be able to bring on if you want to get control of the game again.
No. Here is Grealish, left-hand side for Manchester City. Up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's showing him the outside. Grealish comes inside. De Bruyne, low to the feet of Bernardo Silva, who's been allowed to turn. Mesmerising feet from Bernardo Silva. Then an attempted cross from De Bruyne. He didn't have the space for that. West Ham get it back. This is what they want. Chance to counter. Kudos lumps it over the top. Edison is miles out of his area, and a diving header from the Brazilian ensures that Bowen doesn't get there. It's so exciting when West Ham come with those counter-attacks.
It is brilliant because, again, it's Kudos and Bowen. Comes into Kudos' feet, and he sees Bowen just off he goes in the wide area, and he tries to feed it into him, but Edison is so alert to it. He's out past his box and he drives out, diving header, clears his lines.
West Ham have been the opponents that Pep Guardiola's had more wins against in his managerial career than any other team. His side lead 2-1 here for the moment, but West Ham are showing up for Julian Lopetegui. Here's Emerson on the edge of the tee. Gives it back to Bowen, shoots into the body of Ruben Diaz. Now, it may have struck an arm, but even if it did, I would imagine those arms were down by his side. On-field decision is play on. The video assistant referee, who is down in England today, will be looking at the replays in the background.
Yeah, good play from Doku here. Just draws the foul again, gets two players up against him and goes past them, but it looks like from the initial play that Diaz, both hands were down by his side when the shot is taken, so it'd be harsh, but Doku, Paqueta and Edison, he just draws the boat in, little quick touch around the corner, and he was away down the line.
Yellow card from Maximilian Kilman. That means that two of the West Ham back four are now on a yellow card. Kilman, who was a summer signing for Wolves for £40 million. Wolves, who bought him in 2018 from Maidenhead for £40,000. That's not a bad bit of business, that.
Not at all. Not at all. Great Maidenhead. I think, did Chris Smalling come from Maidenhead as well? But obviously, what?
We're getting a shake of the head.
A shake of the head. Why was it?
Southern football correspondent. It was Maidstone.
Maidstone, sorry.
George Cummins knows his Maidenheads from his Maidstones. This is Grealish into the penalty area. Back onto his right boot. Bernardo Silva shot on target, saved by Fabianski. He was about 14 yards out, and he never really caught hold of it. That was a good chance for Bernardo Silva.
That was a great chance. Again, the way exactly how City play. Just pulls the back edge of the box. Bernardo Silva, it's kind of behind him, so he can't wrap his foot around it and get it the power on he'd like.
It's been a fast-paced game, this. 64 minutes on the clock now. Emerson in possession for West Ham on the left-hand side. Emerson, who has started the first 3 Premier League games of this new season for Julian Lopetegui. Interesting that Vladimir Sofal and Thomas Souček both on the bench today. I mean, they have been mainstays in the side at West Ham virtually since they've arrived at the club.
Yeah, Souček is going to be a great option though to bring off the bench, and Bowen has made a wonderful run there, by the way. Guardiola gets sucked in looking at the ball just off pitch, and a little dink over the top. Bowen is onside, he's bent his run. Kilman just has to play it over. There's a whole 30-40 yards behind, but he doesn't see it.
West Ham United 1, Manchester City 2. Earlier on today, Arsenal were held to a draw at home to Brighton. Controversial incident in the game, and Declan Rice was shown a second yellow card. You'll hear much more about that tonight on Match of the Day, 10:20 on BBC One with Gary, Danny Murphy and Joe Hart. Here is Kudos turning inside the centre circle, making up ground, 15, 20, now 25 yards, and then a terrible pass at the end of it. Gives the ball to Guardiola when he had 3 or 4 options. That's poor from Kudos.
The better option was to just keep going. The City defender dropped off. Guardiola had stepped. He still had another 5-10 yards to carry it before he drew a defender towards him, and that's where you have to draw someone out, then make the pass. He just gets his head up, gets it wrong, but probably a better option to even take a shot.
Kudos, who was good on the ball, but his decision-making was not right there. Guardiola back to Ruben Diaz for Manchester City. City, who've got back-to-back Premier League home games after this. They host Brentford after the international break, and then Arsenal go to the Etihad. That's a date for the diary. Manchester City against Arsenal, Sunday, September 22nd. And in between those games, the Brentford game and the Arsenal game, City will have their first Champions League game. Now, we mentioned Rodri as being a very good option to bring on as a substitute. Pep Guardiola's not going to do that, but I mean, how bad? Ilkay Gundogan.
Yeah, not bad at all. It'd be interesting to see who he replaces him for. That's the interest. It might be Bernardo Silva, and he can play in that higher role as well, linking up. But you know, you're talking if you want to get back full control of the game, there's a player who can come in and play the system and knows it well. You know, and just give that experience.
There hasn't been any other player in senior football that Pep Guardiola has ever signed twice. So that's how highly he rates Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan, who scored against West Ham 3 seasons ago at the Etihad, is about to come on. He's new number 19. Because Kovacic had taken his own number 8. This is Doku into the penalty area, right-hand side. Fabianski was beaten by the cross, but it fizzed away from Haaland to good work by Grealish to keep the ball in play. I thought that was going out for a throw. Grealish has done really well to keep it in. Now he dribbles into the penalty area. Wan-Bissaka dancing in front of him, but well judged. Brilliant defending, Wan-Bissaka, who almost sort of got in a staring match with Grealish there. Go on, you move first, you move first. Neither of them flinched until eventually Grealish just gave it to Wan-Bissaka.
It was brilliant. He knew exactly what Grealish wanted to do. Grealish wanted to come back and set it back edge of the box, and he almost overshowed him down the left-hand side. Say, go on, take me on the outside. I know you don't want to go there.
De Bruyne shoots from well outside the penalty area, and it deflects off a defender out for a corner.
Yeah, good play again. De Bruyne is stepping up, but this game has been end-to-end. West Ham have offered a lot more this second half. City not as dominant in and around their pucks, losing possession, but here's Gundogan coming on now.
Okay, well, Manchester City are going to make their change. Gundogan is going to come on, and while we wait for that, we're going to go for an update to New York and the US Open with Abigail Johnson.
Where the sun is coming out on grandstand, and Jack Draper, Britain's hope, is shining bright under pressure. He leads by a set against Botic van der Zandschulp, but just saved the first break point of the second set. We are on serve at 2 games all.
Thanks very much here at the London Stadium, midway through the second half, and the cheers from the travelling Manchester City fans, Noel Gallagher in amongst them, to welcome Ilkay Gundogan onto the field, and he has replaced Jeremy Doku. Corner to City. Kevin De Bruyne to take. City leading 2-1, both goals from Haaland. Corners taken short to Jack Grealish at the edge of the penalty area. Give it back to De Bruyne, who did well to stay onside, and Ruben Diaz should have made amends for his own goal earlier on at the back post from where the cross came. Diaz was stretching and he put it wide.
Quick break here. Fabianski's just seen the run of Bowen and just fired it forward. Grealish was alert and gets back.
Jack Grealish ultimately wins possession back for his team. cleverly worked corner there. The way De Bruyne stayed onside was very smart.
He just plays as a Grealish, comes out, bends his run back in, but the way it passed from Grealish back to him so he can hit it first time into that far post. And Diaz, he's flying in, maybe it's just a little bit too far, he's getting his toes on it, but Grealish looks like he's down here. He's gone down a couple of times.
Jack Grealish at the moment is sort of hobbling in a left back position for Manchester City. He's breaking into a jog now, but we'll monitor his progress as Aaron Wan-Bissaka comes forward in his direction with possession for West Ham. Grealish not moving as you'd expect. There is extra activity down in the technical area now. West Ham are about to make a double change. Niklas Füllkrug, the new signing from Dortmund, the German international striker, is going to come on, and Vladimir Sofal is going to come on as well, the Czech international defender. Here's Lucas Paqueta near the centre circle, tackled by Bernardo Silva. West Ham hold on to possession. Jared Bowen, 10 yards inside the City half. Gundogan took a kick at him there, but even though he connected, the referee allows play to continue. That was a foul by Gundogan. Advantage to West Ham as Wan-Bissaka gets out near the corner flag. Down the end that West Ham attack away to our left-hand side. This is Lucas Paqueta chipping one into the penalty area. Kudus looks to take it down on his chest. Rico Lewis trying to get in close. Kudus looks to cross, comes off Lewis. Corner to West Ham as we enter the 70th minute of the game.
Yeah, I think West Ham will be buoyed by the substitutes that City made. Taking Doku off when you've got Emerson on a booking, you know, your player's going to take him on the whole time. Where now Bernardo Silva has dropped out to this right wing position. It offers different. West Ham about to make 2 changes though, which are hoping to increase their activity in the forward areas.
So it will be Emerson Palmieri, the left back, who makes way, not Wan-Bissaka. Sofal, of course, naturally a right back, but he's coming on in place of the left-sided defender here. He immediately comes over and does a little slap of the palms at Wan-Bissaka, and it suggests that Wan-Bissaka is going to switch to the other side. And Niklas Füllkrug comes on in attack. And was it Antonio who made way? I think it was.
It was, yeah. You know what? Corner, Füllkrug on the pitch. He's going to want to try and get his head in this straight away. He's a player that's got that ability in the air.
Niklas Füllkrug, his last goal came in the Champions League final. Delivery in, or semi-final, delivery in from Bowen on the left-hand side, and it is a header away off target by Kilman. Max Kilman looking for his first goal for his new team. He only ever scored 3 Premier League goals in all those years at Wolves.
I'm disappointed, to be honest. I think it might be Rodriguez that gets the header last minute, but centre of the goal, 6-yard line. There's a little push in the back of Diaz, but he's a free header. He needs to try and get that down.
Kilman, who was West Ham's player of the match against Palace last weekend. Another change coming for the visitors. Pep Guardiola is going to bring on Mateus Nunes, who was linked with a move away from the club this summer, but transfer window has come and gone, and he's still at City. He's been peripheral. Only 1 Premier League start since February for Mateus Nunes. He comes on in place of Jack Grealish. What have you made of Grealish's performance overall today, Stephen?
I actually think he's been very good. He's looked sharp when he's got on the ball. He's not been afraid to take the players on. He offers that slightly different, isn't it? Because he constantly wants to come back in and pick that man with the pass, so he draws defenders towards him. But I think he's had a good game. He's put himself back in contention to be in this side.
We've already had one incredible comeback to win in the Premier League today. Bournemouth, who were 2-0 down in the 87th minute away from home at Everton, managed to score 3 goals in 9 minutes to win 3-2. West Ham hoping that they can summon something of that spirit and provide some fireworks as a bang goes off on the background with 18 minutes to play here. Rico Lewis inside the centre circle for City. Rolls it to the right-hand side to Manuel Akanji. Onto Bernardo Silva, who appears for now, and it's always fluid with City, but it appears that he's going to move to the right wing position after the departure of Doku.
Yeah, it looks at Silva's right wing. It looks like Gundogan's gone out on the left. Nunes kind of tucked in a little bit. I'm sure they'll interchange between each other.
Here is Bernardo Silva, crossing position on the right-hand side. Weaving run away from Kudus and rolls it back short to Rico Lewis. Reminder of what's coming up tomorrow. We've got commentary on 5 Live. Newcastle against Tottenham. It's a 1:30 start. You'll have the choice of listening. At that same time, Chelsea against Palace is available on the BBC Sports website and app. And it's all building up to the 4 o'clock kickoff at Old Trafford. Manchester United against Liverpool, which should be tasty indeed. Here at London Stadium, West Ham 1, Manchester City 2. All the goals in the first half hour of the game. Gundogan, lovely back heel, looking really sharp when he's returned to Manchester City colours. Kovacic Gundogan came on as a sub against Ipswich last weekend, and he's done the same thing here. The player who created more chances in La Liga last season than any other player, Ilkay Gundogan, during his short spell at Barcelona. Here's Rico Lewis. City just beginning to dominate possession again after what was a very good spell for West Ham, but they weren't able to score during it. Bernardo Silva towards Gundogan. Gets it back again. We mentioned how Gundogan was the left wing a minute ago. Now here he is on the right, which sums up the point you were making, Stephen.
This is a fluidity between them. They're constantly chopping and changing, moving positions. And as a defender, as West Ham, that's what keeps you occupied. You're constantly trying to swivel, look over your shoulder, see where they're moving to.
Mateus Nunes in the left wing position at the moment. He runs it, Sofal pulls it back, looking for Gundogan. Cut out though by Guido Rodriguez. And West Ham tried to clear away, but Bowen runs down a blind alley and he gives it away there to Guardiola. Just over a quarter of an hour of normal time to play. Kevin De Bruyne midway inside West Ham territory. Low ball to Kovacic. He helps it on to Gundogan. Now Rico Lewis to the near touchline. City's right. Space for Bernardo Silva. Wan-Bissaka comes out to try and close that down. Back to Manuel Akanji once again. Death by 1,000 cuts at the moment as City hogging the possession and denying, suffocating any chances of West Ham possession.
And West Ham just want to get the ball back and have a chance to go forward into those wide areas, but if you're constantly chasing the shadows, moving around, shifting positions, trying to keep that shape about you, that's draining, it's tiring, it's physically, and then just mentally it takes a lot out of you.
A foul by Guido Rodriguez on Mateo Kovacic, and that is going to be a yellow card for the Argentinian. So he joins Kilman and Emerson in the referee's notebook. Free kick for City taken by Rico Lewis. Rolls it to Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Kudos back helping out Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Kovacic just outside the D. Right on his shoulder is Lewis. Back out to the right-hand side again, and Bernardo Silva. West Ham defence trying to step out, but every time they do, City make an incisive little jab and forces West Ham to step back again. Again, there's a roar there from Kilman, trying to get his colleagues to step out a little bit. City have it back in the centre circle with Ruben Diaz. Diaz, who played for Portugal and the Euros in Germany in the summer. Gundogan, of course, was involved for the hosts. De Bruyne plays it out to Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Now into the penalty area. Lewis across the edge of the 6-yard box. Kilman puts it out for a Manchester City corner.
It's so simple from them. They just keep it in front of you, work out to the winger, inside run, underlap into the space, ball in behind, and then they get that into the position where they're on the byline. They can pull it back or they can fire across the goal. It sounds simple, it looks simple, but only City do as well as they do.
We are in the 77th minute. Once this game ends on 5 Live, we'll be going to Paris. Katie Smith presenting live coverage from tonight's action at the Paralympics. Thomas Souček will get a warm reception. He comes on in place of Edson Alvarez. Souček, who scored at Selhurst Park in West Ham's win last weekend. He's had more shots than any other of his teammates over the first 2 games. Can he make an impact here? His first action is to defend a Manchester City corner, to be taken by De Bruyne. City plenty players up in attack here. West Ham would love to launch a counter-attack. Bowen gets it. Left full-back position, runs away from Guardiola, runs into De Bruyne. Last touch off the Belgian, throw into West Ham.
He does brilliant there, Bowen. He looks up and he sees there's no one in front of him, so he can't just play along. He's going to give away possession, so he drifts out with it, plays off Kevin De Bruyne, ends up getting a throw-in for his team.
He scores in the Premier League earlier on today. 1-1 between Arsenal and Brighton in the lunchtime game. Brentford beat Southampton by 3-1. Everton lost at home 3-2 to Bournemouth. That was a proper 5-goal thriller, late comeback by Bournemouth. Ipswich got their first Premier League points, 1-1 at home to Fulham, as across from Sofal from the right-hand side for West Ham is cut out by a well-positioned Josko Guardiola. Leicester beaten at home today, Aston Villa winning 2-1 at the King Power. It was a 1-1 draw between Nottingham Forest and Wolves. As Edison has possession. Way to our left-hand side of the bright orange. He gave it to Bernardo Silva, who's had his pocket picked by Kudos. Kudos plays it infield to Fulkrug. Fulkrug onto Thomas Souček. They can't get the shot away, and eventually it's shuffled wide. We'll go to the US Open tennis in just a moment, but quickly, Stephen Kenny, that was a chance for West Ham.
It's a great chance. Kudos does so well. He strips Bernardo Silva the ball and then puts a really good pass into Souček or into Fulkrug. Neither of them can get out their feet. Souček is in a wonderful position, centre of the goal, get that shot away, but just drags it wide. West Ham will be lamenting that. That was a really good opportunity.
So, to New York, to the US Open, to Abigail Johnson.
Where Jack Draper has just put an ice pack around his neck. He is the picture of cool on grandstand. Botic van der Zandschulp, his third round opponent, has double faulted, and Jack Draper has the set and a break lead.
Coverage available on BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra. You can also listen on the BBC Sport website. As Gundogan has possession for Manchester City, 10 yards inside West Ham territory. We've got just over 10 minutes of normal time to play here. 2 goals from Erling Haaland of Manchester City in front, but there's still just the 1 goal in it. Ruben Diaz's own goal. West Ham 1, Manchester City 2. Bernardo Silva pushes it in front of Kevin De Bruyne. Right wing position, has a look. Haaland to the back post, didn't have enough height to reach in. Cut out by Lucas Fabianski, who is the half-time replacement in goal for West Ham, coming on for Areola.
Yeah, it's not often you see De Bruyne get into those positions and not pick out the man, but he was just trying to feed into that near post area. Gundogan was making a run across the post. Haaland's run behind had drawn the centre-back out, so created a little bit of space, but Fabianski was alert to it.
Today, the last day of August, Manchester City, who tend to start seasons strongly under Pep Guardiola. In his time at the club, City have only ever lost 1 Premier League game in the month of August. Wan-Bissaka tries to come on the charge here. Thought for a moment he was going to break into the penalty area, but Ruben Diaz was back to defend. Good sliding challenge by Lucas Paqueta, but this is the difficulty for West Ham. Even when they win the ball, it's only briefly because City get it back again. Gundogan accelerating over the halfway line. Gives it to Matheus Nunes. He gets to the edge of the penalty area. City playing left to right as we look down. Guardiol. Kovacic, more central now, helps it on to Kevin De Bruyne. Haaland's just making little darting runs, trying to make space. Not been in the game much in the second half, Erling Haaland, but how many times have we said that, and then he'll pop up with a goal which could complete his hat-trick?
Yeah, would you put it that he's not going to get a hat-trick? Absolutely not. He's like you would almost expect it. The fact he's touched the ball so little, you would think something's going to drop to him, but he has nowhere had near the influence. Like we said in the first half, his touches and his intricate play and his set-up play was excellent. They've not used him in the second half, but they haven't had as much possession.
Here is De Bruyne, tries to cross on the right-hand side. Kilman puts it out for a corner. Corner to City on the right-hand side, and since this stadium opened, Manchester City have scored more Premier League goals here than any other visiting team. 2 today on what has been a happy hunting ground for them. This corner being taken right in front of the travelling Manchester City fans, many of whom have already splashed out in the new away kit, this yellow and navy replica of the Paul Dickoff famous playoff from the 3rd tier all those years ago. Rico Lewis. So the corner was taken all the way back to the centre circle. Now Matheus Nunes on the left-hand side up against Lucas Paqueta. And he rolls it back to Josko Guardiol. City, good game management here. Seeing this through, realising that they're 2-1 up. They'd love the third, of course. Low cross from Matheus Nunes, cut out before it could reach Erling Haaland.
Tell you what, Wan-Bissaka does really well here. He's made the run to block the near post, and just see Nunes try to pull it back. He just throws his leg out behind him and blocks it, because Haaland had made a darting one, stopped it, checked, and was in a position just to whip that with his left foot, but it's a good block by Wan-Bissaka.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who was on the winning side against Manchester City, of course, in the FA Cup final back in May. And Thomas Souček here wins possession for West Ham. Paqueta swivels around a full 360 degrees, and then after that lovely bit of play, he plays a terrible pass to Bernardo Silva into the penalty area, and Wan-Bissaka saves the plushes there, gets back with a last gasp of deception. Long clearance from Fabianski again. The tactic is clearly trying to get Bowen into it down the right. Bowen putting pressure on Guardiola, and Diaz was across to help as well. That was good pressure applied by Bowen, but the Manchester City defenders stood strong. And now Matheus Nunes, he plays it through for Haaland. Is he onside? One-on-one with Fabianski for the hat-trick! Erling Haaland! Back-to-back Premier League hat-tricks, 2 weekends in a row, back in business in the Premier League. He's now scorched marching his way to the top of the scoring charts. VAR will check was he onside, but the celebrations are in full flow. West Ham 1, Manchester City 3.
We literally just said he's not touched the ball, but it wouldn't surprise us if he got a hat-trick, and that's it. And you know what was so dangerous? West Ham held a high line. I thought, uh-oh, this is danger here, because you can't leave that space behind for him. One pass through the lines to Núñez, who gets his head up, fires it behind. Haaland looks like he times his run to perfection. He looks like he drops back into that last man. The angle we have here, if he's offside, it's really tight because he brings himself back in line, I think. But then when he goes through, the run, the finish, are absolutely brilliant. He's onside, definitely onside here. When he goes through here, how confident is he? Just to dink it over Fabianski, get his hat-trick, put the game to bed for City. Wonderful goal, but this is the problem that you have playing against City. You drop off, you invite them to keep the ball in front of him. You put a high line on, Haaland can do that. What a goal that is.
7 goals in his first 3 games of the new campaign. Erling Haaland, back-to-back hat-tricks. 3 against Ipswich last weekend, 3 today. As long as it does stand, they are still analysing the replays, and there's the green line across the screen to indicate that Erling Haaland is onside, and this goal will stand. West Ham 1, Manchester City 3, 5 minutes to go. That should be that.
Yeah, you know what I love to see? He looks at the defender and he makes a real effort just to get himself back on side into a really good position. Núñez drives between the lines, and as soon as he looks up, Haaland's made that run. It's a wonderful way of pass from Núñez into him. 1 touch, 2 touch, dinks it over the keeper. Haaland's on a hat-trick, and we just said he barely touched the ball in the second half. It's unbelievable what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, well, every weekend we throw out numbers at you. So 69 Premier League games now for Haaland since coming to England, 70 goals. More than a goal a game.
It's absolutely staggering. We talk about the Premier League being the toughest league, the hardest league to score goals in, defenders who want to kick you, and it doesn't mean anything to him. It means nothing to him. He just goes out and puts the ball in the back of the net like he's playing in a park with his friends. It's amazing to watch.
The assist from Matheus Núñez, the finish from Erling Haaland. All 3 Manchester City goals today have come from the Norwegian. And West Ham, they know they're done and dusted. They've taken off the captain, Jared Bowen. Crescencio Somerville will come in, the summer signing from Leeds, the player of the year in the Championship last season. He came on as a sub against Villa in the last home game here. He wasn't used. He was left on the bench at Palace last weekend, so it's been a slow introduction to him. He did start in the League Cup on Wednesday. He's not going to have much time to impress here, as City now, with the handbrake off, go looking for the 4th, and you can tell they're enjoying themselves. And it's been, as it has been, you know, through the first 3 games they played this season. It's a very small sample size, of course, but Manchester City look to be at their ruthless best once again.
But you know what, tactically from Pep, when you're watching it, Grealish came off, and I think that may be because of an injury, but Doku, when you take those 2 wingers off, West Ham thought, right, we can squeeze up a little bit because that wide threat of those players getting on it. But as soon as they step up, City know they've got Bernardo Silva's going to come inside, Núñez who wants to come inside, and they have that through ball on for Haaland. So it's a little tactical change. It makes West Ham feel we can squeeze a little bit here, but then that's to your detriment, because if you've got someone like Haaland that can run in behind you.
Another 2 changes coming from Manchester City. Ake's going to come on, and Kyle Walker as well. Hardened, experienced international players being brought on to conclude the victory lap around London Stadium, which is what this has become. Manchester City 3 goals to 1 in front, and about to make it 3 wins out of 3 and to go to the top of the formative Premier League table. Remember, Liverpool have won 2 out of 2 so far. They play Manchester United tomorrow, but Ake and Walker are on here, and we are almost at the 90 minutes. We've got a couple of minutes of normal time to play here. Kevin De Bruyne and Josko Gvardiol, the 2 who have made way.
It's scary. They just, in the second half, they brought on Gundogan, Kyle Walker and Nathan Ake. Like, if you have players like that are not starting for you, we can bring into a game and I know up to speed. It's a cheat code, isn't it? It's a cheat code for football.
Ake making his first Premier League appearance of the new season. He did come on as a sub in the Community Shield, but this is his first appearance since. And same goes for Kyle Walker, his first appearance of the new campaign. He was one of those given extended leave because England had done so well at the Euros, and he only returned to training just before the season got back underway. Walker here takes a throw in and sends it back to goalkeeper Edison. No clean sheet for City today because of that Ruben Diaz own goal. West Ham, remember, with Kudos hitting the woodwork. Might have been a different narrative if they made it 2-2 at that stage, but we'll never know.
No, and listen, West Ham against other teams, against other oppositions, you'll see those two wide players are going to cause problems for most teams in this league. Bowen has been excellent for the most part. Kudos has been excellent. That one opportunity where he's going through and he should take on himself. But they've got a threat in the forward areas. Defensively, how often are you going to play against a team that dominates possession like this on your home ground? So West Ham, I think, will move on this season. Wan-Bissaka's look good as well coming into the team.
More live football tomorrow on 5 Live. Newcastle against Tottenham, a 1:30 start. At the same time, you've got the choice of listening. Chelsea against Crystal Palace is available on the BBC Sport website and app. And at 4 o'clock, Manchester United against Liverpool. Full commentary with John Murray and Dion Dublin here on 5 Live. And from tomorrow on Sports Extra, we've got ball-by-ball commentary, 10 a.m, England against Sri Lanka, the 4th day of the second test at Lord's. TMS podcast available to download as City come looking for the 4th that would really put the cherry on top.
Great play down the right-hand side. Rico Lewis makes a wonderful run, just put him behind, and as he crosses the ball, it looks like Nunes is going to get onto this in the far post, but Fabianski makes a great dive, stretch, touches over his head.
It's all about Erling Haaland. He's got to make the headlines again. Hat-tricks, 2 weekends in a row, 2 hat-tricks in his first 3 games of the season. For the man who just continues to be a goal machine for Pep Guardiola.
It's hard to come up with words to describe him. Every time you see him, he does something else or something different. But the amount of goals he's scoring on a regular basis are just off the scale.
So the closing stages of the game, Paqueta has won the ball off Kyle Walker here. And was that a foul by Akanji? It was. Free kick to West Ham. Lucas Paqueta takes it too quickly, groans around the stadium. Less haste, more speed. But you can see the frustration for Lucas Paqueta. You see why he wants to take it quickly. They've no time to waste, but that is disappointing. And it kind of sums up the second half performance from Julian Lopetegui's team.
It was the right idea, he just was wrong in the tempo, the pass, the pace of it. Souček had made a great run, he just had to find it into him, and then they'd broken 2 or 3 players from City, got behind them, but he just overhits it.
This is Gundogan on the edge of his own penalty area. Manchester City, whose players will now go disperse around the globe for international duty. Pep Guardiola will be hoping that they all come back in one piece, but the strength of the squad, even if you take 2 or 3 out of this, I mean, at the moment, no Rodri, no Foden, 2 of the best players in the Premier League, and they still look so imperious.
Yeah, I'm sure City were probably hoping that Rodri wasn't back on the bench for this game, so he doesn't go on international duty. You could keep him here after him going so far into the competition with Spain. But yeah, they're littered with talent, they're littered with players that, you know what it is, every player that plays for City plays consistently well for 99% of the season, and that's the difference between them and everybody else. They don't drop their standards.
Scoring hat-tricks in 2 of your first 3 league games of a season has been done before, but we'll throw it out to the listeners as a bit of fun. Have a think. Who do you think ever started a season with hat-tricks in 2 of their first 3 games? It's a toughie. While you ponder that, let's go back to the US Open and Abigail Johnson. You're free to guess, Abigail, if you know, by the way.
Well, Jack Draper here is 1 set away from his 2nd straight US Open 4th round. The sun fully shining on grandstand, and Draper, world number 25 of Great Britain, is bringing the heat from the baseline. He's worn down Botic van der Zandschulp, and the scoreline reads 6-3, 6-4 in Draper's favour. He's looking good, although very, very sweaty right now.
Thanks very much, Abigail. Coverage of the tennis continues on Sports Extra. We are well into stoppages here inside London Stadium. Manchester City, thanks to the Erling Haaland hat-trick, on their way to a victory. Rico Lewis wins possession back inside his penalty area, gives it up to Gundogan, who's all tricks and twirls, and he draws a foul from Vladimir Sofal, and that is going to be a free kick to City. I want to ask you about Nicholas Fulkrug, Stephen. I know difficult circumstances for City being so dominant, but you know he looks a good fit for the Premier League. He's got the physical attributes. How do you think he's going to settle in?
You think with the way West Ham play, with having wingers like Kudus and Bowen who are capable of taking a player on, putting the ball in the box, it should suit him. But at the moment, he's not. You can't run him behind, so I think the fit for today's game with Antonio, the counter-attack, having someone that can drive the ball forward, Antonio is the right option for them. But I think he's someone that will definitely benefit this team and add to them. Like I said, with the way they play in the wide areas, he's someone that can put the ball in the back of the net from across, be hard to play against, and you never know, they could have an Antonio and him up top. That wouldn't be a nice people to play against, playing else too, would it?
Just over a minute of stoppages to play here. Mateus Nunes into the penalty area left hand side, drags it back for Mateo Kovacic just outside the D of the penalty area. Guido Rodriguez tries to get close to him. Thomas Souček does win possession back for West Ham. Lucas Paqueta will give it to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and he manages to shrug off Bernardo Silva and run up to the halfway line. Lovely from Wan-Bissaka, back in field of Kyle Walker. Then he does a step over away from Mateus Nunes. Well, you know, it's not been the greatest day for West Ham, but they'll be pleased what they've seen of Wan-Bissaka today as Kudus tries to rattle in a shot from the edge of the penalty area, but too many City players back to defend. Wan-Bissaka gets on the ball again, hangs in across, Fulkrug, flick on header, Souček at the back post, back in field to Fulkrug, back to goal, can't swivel his body to get a shot away, and Gundogan is able to clear it away up towards Erling Haaland, and then Haaland gives it back to Gundogan again, and he nips it one side of Sofal and runs around the other, and then plays the ball back into Erling Haaland. This is great, one end for the pitch, the other side for City. Haaland tries to squeeze it in, and Fabianski saves at his near post.
This would have been ridiculous if this hadn't gone in. Haaland, we talked about how his build-up play had changed, how he could hold the ball in. He receives it, plays to Gundogan, who breaks a beautiful touch around the corner, and then the pinpoint accuracy of the pass. Sorry, they're in here.
Down the other end, Crescencio Somerville. Oh, saved by Edison onto the post. Somerville did everything right. He's inside the penalties, about 8-9 yards out. He tries to bend it into the far corner, and Edison pulls off a world-class save to deny West Ham a second goal today. He fingertips it onto the post.
It is literally fingertips from Edison. Somerville thinks he scored. Edison just tips it onto the post, comes back out, end to end. Great way to finish a match.
Right, there it is, the final whistle. Crescencio Somerville unable to put a glean on the final scoreline, which is West Ham 1, Manchester City 3. Another hat-trick for Erling Haaland. 2 weekends in a row that he scores 3 goals per game, and Manchester City make it 3 wins out of 3. By the way, I teased you about scoring hat-tricks in 2 of your first 3 games. The only player to do it before in the old Division 2 was Paul Jewell, who went on to be the Wigan and Derby manager for Bradford in the mid-90s. He got 2 hat-tricks in the first 3 weekends. That's a good pub quiz question. Not many will get that. But Erling Haaland joins him, and you wouldn't bet against Haaland getting another hat-trick next week. He was brilliant today, Stephen Kelly.
He was. He'll go away, get a hat-trick in international, and get another one if he comes back yet. Honestly, that bit at the end, Connor, when he little 1-2 combination with Gundogan and he goes through, he makes the angle so tight for Fabianski, and he still nearly squeezes it through his legs. It's a wonderful little save, just the back heel keeps it out. But he did nothing in the second half. He wasn't in the game. City didn't get the ball to him, but those moments that count, get yourself back on side, and that finish, absolutely sensational.
West Ham hoping for a new start. The post-David Moyes era, the Julian Lopetegui era has begun with 2 defeats in the opening 3 Premier League games. There will, of course, be easier battles than this one, but what have you made of how West Ham are faring up now that they've had 3 games?
I think it's difficult. Villa and City have probably been 2 of the best teams last season in their Premier League, so to lose to both of them at home is harsh and difficult opposition, but I feel West Ham have improved in the players. I think Wan-Bissaka is an improvement. I think bringing in Fulkrug is something that can add to them. I think they've got players that can make a difference now in this team, and I think I expect them to kick on a little bit this time. And they played some good football. They're just up against a sensational City side.
Right, well, it is a victory for Manchester City today as West Ham United are beaten at home once again. City, who love playing this opponent, love playing them at this ground. Erling Haaland grabs the match ball from the referee, tucks it under his arm, and he's off. He's off to put it in his collection. It is the 24th hat-trick of his career. He's got an even extension for all those match balls.
It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous. Right, that's it from myself, Conor McNamara, from Stephen Kelly here at London Stadium. Victory for Manchester City, and we're about to go to Paris for the Paralympics. Here is Katie Smith on 5 Live.
Stephen, Conor, thank you very much. I mean, his social media post last week, Erling Haaland, was a picture of him and the match ball saying, "Did you triple captain me?" I wonder if we'll see that again this evening. So a win for Manchester City. Reaction to that game to come here on 5 Live Sport, and our Premier League commentaries continue here and on BBC Sounds tomorrow. Newcastle against Tottenham from 1:30. Then it is Manchester United up against Liverpool from 4 o'clock. On 5 Sports Extra right now, though, live US Open tennis. Abigail Johnson there for us, and Britain's Jack Draper going well, Abigail.
Really well, Katie. Up 2-0 6-3, 6-4 as world number 25 Draper. Not a wonder that himself and Botic van der Zandschulp just left the court after the culmination of the second set. It's about 26 degrees Celsius here, very humid. But Draper, at 22 years old, looks every inch the professional. He's saved 5 of the 6 break points that he's faced. Botic van der Zandschulp, the world number 74, he took out Carlos Alcaraz, Wimbledon champion, less than 48 hours ago. So a tough turnaround, and he's looking at a tough route back into this match.
So if you want the tennis, that is on Sports Extra right now. We'll keep you up to date, though, here on 5 Live throughout the evening. We are live, though, from here, the Stade de France, and we are going to bring you all of the night's Paralympics action. There is live athletics, live swimming still to come. That is after the latest news, though, with Jill Mackenzie.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Katie. And we start with some breaking news. All the Oasis tickets in the UK and Ireland have now sold out. The band made the announcement on X after thousands of people spent hours in online queues today. There's been criticism of the system of in-demand pricing, which meant some tickets on Ticketmaster were sold at more than twice their original value. The website says it doesn't set the prices. In other news today, 2 people who were attacked in separate incidents at the Notting Hill Carnival have both died from their injuries. 32-year-old Cher Maximum was stabbed on Sunday. 41-year-old Musi Imnetu was found unconscious with a head injury on Monday. Police say both deaths are being treated as murder investigations. Vaccination against polio has begun for some babies in Gaza before a mass immunisation starts tomorrow. 3 pauses in the conflict between Israel and Hamas have been agreed, while more than 600,000 people are vaccinated. And the US rapper Fatman Scoop has died at the age of 53 after collapsing on stage in Connecticut. He had a 2003 UK #1 with Be Faithful and was on Celebrity Big Brother in 2015.
It's Manchester United against Liverpool.
I wonder which names will enter the history of this fixture today.
You can't go out with a whimper. The fans will not accept that.
It doesn't get bigger or better than this.
What's the game?
BBC Radio 5 live from Old Trafford.
5 Live Premier League Sunday.
Manchester United versus Liverpool. Sunday from 4.
Live and exclusive on 5 Live Premier League Sunday.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Paris 2024, the Paralympics. With Katie Smith on BBC Radio 5 Live.
And our base is the Stade de France. Welcome to 5 Live Sport, live from Paris on day 3 of the Paralympic Games. And it's been another golden day for Paralympics GB. So over the next 90 minutes, we are going to bring you the best of the live action still to come from here on the track and in the field and the swimming pool as well. And we're going to reflect too on some of the stories from earlier in the day. We'll also look ahead to some para rowing and talk about everything happening in the velodrome as well. Alongside me here on a pretty warm, pretty balmy evening, 2-time Paralympic champion Richard Whitehead. And actually, I'm looking around this magnificent stadium of sport. I cannot see a seat visible. It's so packed.
This is amazing for Paralympic sport. It's really been embraced by the French community. Today, they've got a real experience of high-level performance sport in the Paralympic movement. It's incredible.
We've been helped by much better weather today than yesterday.
It's nice, isn't it?
But it does feel like a packed schedule. We're going to be talking British athletes in a moment. But what have you made of the action so far? We're seeing world records left, right and centre.
Yeah, world champions being made, world records being had, and some fantastic performances. And for me, it's not just about on the track, it's on the field as well. The long jump's about to take place shortly. and I think the crowd's like really embracing every athlete that's coming onto the track, especially the French athletes. I've never heard a roar like this since London 2012.
Oh, that's what we like to hear. We had to take our headphones off earlier just to fully, embrace it. So we'll be talking all things here on the track at the Stade de France. It's been a mighty day, though, for GB in the pool. So 3 golds in a magical 40 minutes for the British team earlier today. A first Paralympic title for Alice Tai, who we're going to hear from later. Also gold and a world record for Stephen Clegg. He was out for revenge after missing out in Tokyo. And a Paralympic title and another world record for 18-year-old Will Ellard as well. So loads to come on that. Some success and plenty of drama in the velodrome as well. So we are going to have Jacco van Gas live with us later. A gold yesterday, 4th place for him today. We'll talk about that. A little bit of controversy there as well from his perspective. Ed Harry, our athletics commentator, is here with us in the commentary box. And we're not too far away, Ed, from seeing one of the British greats, one of the British veterans, you might say, David Weir, going in the 5,000.
Yeah, and I think he's got a few years left in him. That's the good news, Katie. David Weir's first Paralympic Games was Atlanta in 1996. Got a little bit disillusioned with the sport, wasn't in Sydney, then saw Sydney and thought, I need to get back in. This is his 7th Games. He has 10 medals, 6 of them are gold. 4 of those golds were won at London 2012, and one of those gold medals in the British capital 12 years ago was in tonight's final, the 5,000 metres. This is not to hang a medal of any colour around David Weir's neck, because Marcel Hug is in this, his long-time rival, who happens to be the defending Paralympic champion for this event. He's the world record holder as well, Hug, and he won the world title in 2017 and again in 2023. But David Weir now has the same racing chair as Marcel Hug, and he told me at London Marathon Week in April of this year to be able to train in that chair, to put the work in and to see it come back in terms of the times in training. He struck me as somebody revitalised and as hungry for a challenge as he ever was.
He's a man you know so well, Richard, and we'll get all your thoughts and perspective. I mean, you're still chatting to him here, aren't you? So we can maybe go inside the camp a little bit. But Dave, we're expected out on the track very shortly. But we have seen one of Britain's younger stars on the track tonight. During the football, we had 24-year-old Thomas Young, who was the Paralympic champion in the 100 metres 3 years ago in Tokyo. Tonight, he was attempting to defend his title, and Ed was calling this one.
9 men lining up for this final in the men's 100 metres in the T38 classification for athletes with coordination impairments. It's the T30's classification where the impairment is least. Ali Al-Rakabi of Iraq is in 1. Santiago Solis Torres of Colombia in 2. Xu Peng of China in 3. And that takes us to the middle lanes, where we find Jaden Blackwell of the United States, the twice and reigning world champion, who is also the world record holder, improving that in July of this year in the United States. Then it is Thomas Young in lane number 5, the defending champion from Great Britain, Ryan Medrano of the USA in 6. And there will be plenty of noise when the gun goes, because France have Dimitri Yozwicki in lane number 7. Nick Mayhew, who won a 100-metre gold of his own in Tokyo before being reclassified from a T37 to a T38, is in lane number 8. And Juan Campas Sanchez of Colombia is in lane 9. In the middle, though, Young, the defending Paralympic champion from Great Britain, side by side with Blackwell of the USA, the twice and reigning world champion and the world record holder. The men's 100 metres in the T38 classification. Mayhew gets a good start, so too does Blackwell, though. Blackwell looking good to his inside, Solis Torres looking good, but Blackwell coming away, and Thomas Young might hold on for a bronze here. It was Blackwell's race in 10.64 seconds. He breaks his own world record. It was his from halfway. Thomas Young may be in the hunt for bronze, but it could equally be 4th place and agony for the defending champion. Blackwell confirmed as the winner in 10.64. Ryan Medrano races his way onto the podium as well, his fellow American. As the crowd is told of the world record, we know it's USA 1 and 2. Did Young get onto the podium? He's raced out of it, Thomas Young, by Juan Campas Sanchez, finishing quickly on the outside. No medal here for Thomas Young, who finishes in 4th place.
So that happened a little earlier. Ed calling the race for us. Richard, you were watching it too, and you couldn't miss the disappointment etched across Thomas Young's face.
Yeah, Thomas was very disappointed, and I'm actually very disappointed for Thomas as well. I think if he looks back at that race, it wasn't good enough at all. He was very tight. I think the pressure from Blackwell from metre 5 really did show on his form and technique, and then obviously blindsided by Campas Sanchez in lane 9 stole that bronze medal off Thomas, and you could see the disappointment from the stands that Thomas really wasn't happy with his performance. If he had run the same as he did in the heat, he would have got a silver medal. He was the 2nd fastest in the heat, and he just didn't perform. I actually saw him on the blocks, and I think there was something that distracted him from his focus, and that was just running down the track as fast as he can.
Do you think he was nervous then on the start line?
He had a lot of energy coming out onto the track, and I'm not sure that was positive energy. I think maybe he felt a little bit distracted by some of the other athletes. He's obviously put under a lot of pressure by Blackwell before the race, and for me, he wasted energy that he could have utilised to get that silver medal.
Yeah, when we played that race out between the lineup and the gun, there was a significant delay. A Chinese athlete, 2 lanes to Thomas Young's inside, needed strapping on his thigh, and a couple of the other